The story begins when Seo confesses his feelings to his schoolmate, and the girl doesn't know how to reject him politely. He adds that he has liked her since the first day he saw her, and that feeling has never changed. However, seeing the hesitant expression on her face, he assumes she might hate him for his weight. She immediately clarifies that she doesn't hate him. Hesitantly, she adds that he is a funny and sensible person, so there's no reason for her to hate him. Then she makes an excuse to reject him. After school, he meets his best friend, who asks about the confession. With a darkening mood and tears in his eyes, he replies that she rejected him because she wants to focus on her studies. His friend remarks that she should at least make a sensible excuse, as she has never been interested in studies. While they are walking ahead, a ball rushes towards Seo, which he catches with precise skill before it can hit him. The player immediately rushes to him, asking about his well-being. He asks his friend with a sad expression about the reason for his being overweight. His friend replies that he is also curious because Seo is very good at sports. He never sees him overeating. And not only that, he exercises regularly. He adds that if everyone put in half the effort Seo does to lose weight, the world would be filled with fit people. He then suggests Seo visit a doctor. Seo informs him that he has already done so several times, but the doctors told him that if he can't lose weight no matter how hard he tries, it must be genetic. When he enters his apartment, his friend's words still echo in his mind. He looks at pictures of very smart and fit people who are his parents, and thinks that if genetics is the reason behind his overweight, then he might give up. His mother is a very beautiful woman, while his father is a Korean wrestler with great strength and numerous awards under his belt. He thinks about his mother's words that his father was able to build those muscles without putting any effort. He looks at the salad in front of him and decides to go for an unhealthy meal, reasoning that no matter what he does, he can't lose weight, so he might as well spoil himself. However, he doesn't have the courage to do so and sticks to his regular salad meal afterward. At night, he is seen jogging in the streets while measuring his steps. His device informs him that he has broken his own record, with his current speed being 9.5 miles per hour. While venting his frustration about his classmate and pushing himself to his limit, he doesn't notice how far he has gone from home. He decides to check his location, but before he can, someone comments on his fast speed despite his body weight. It's an old man sitting on the railing of the bridge. The man adds that his speed might come from his genes. Then the old man jumps 15 feet from the bridge, frightening Seo. The old man tells him there's no need to be afraid of him. He introduces himself as Mangtae, the one keeping an eye on all the demons of Korea. Seeing Seo's confused expression, Mangtae realizes that Seo has no clue what he's babbling about. He decides to show him, and with a swish, he transports them somewhere else. Seo's head pounds, and he doesn't understand what's happening, but his eyes widen as he takes in his surroundings and the numerous beasts around him. The old man informs him that this is the demon realm, where everyone who can enter is a demon. He explains that there was a time when demons were worshipped by humans, but now they are just a part of human superstition. He adds further that every 666 years, a tournament is held to choose the demon king. Every species of demon sends their best candidate for this competition, as the current king is going to be dethroned soon. Seo interrupts Mangtae's babbling, while asking how any of this relates to him. Mangtae informs him that every demon kind must send a candidate, and Seo has been chosen because he is the only person in this world with the blood of a goblin. Seo tries to clear up the misunderstanding, while insisting that Mangtae must have the wrong person. But before he can finish, a scary-looking demon jumps beside him. The demon tells Seo he hopes to eat him if he wins, as it's been 666 years since he last tasted human flesh. Seo is utterly terrified by his words. The next moment, the demon, named Big Mouth, punches Seo in the gut and throws him away. While Seo is getting beaten, Mangtae tells him that he needs to prove himself to participate in the competition. Even though he is the last surviving member of the goblins, he must survive this fight to earn his place. Meanwhile, Big Mouth continues to beat Seo relentlessly. The monster, eager to eat Seo, keeps complimenting his great endurance as Seo struggles to hold on. Big Mouth is ready to pounce on Seo to devour his flesh, but surprisingly, Seo this time blocks the attack. Seeing this, Mangtae explains that goblins are famous for acquiring skills through instinct rather than learning. By the force of nature, their bodies adapt to the skills they need. Meanwhile, a strong aura emanates from Seo as he not only blocks Big Mouth's attacks, but also begins to repel them. Using a skill resembling wrestling, Seo surprises everyone by stopping the monster, flipping it, and slamming it into the ground with crushing force. Though exhausted, he stands victorious, while his goblin genes fully awakened. The next day, Seo is seen with his friend, having returned to his chubby self once again. He tells his friend about what happened last night, which he assumes was just a dream. When he mentions flipping the monster after being beaten, his friend comments that it's strange since people usually dream about things they do in their daily lives, and Seo doesn't has left wrestling for a long time. With a thoughtful expression, Seo remarks how vivid the dream was, to the point that he feels like he could do the fighting again if asked. His friend jokes that Seo might be getting ahead of himself. Seo agrees with a sigh, then comments that it's probably true that he's so obsessed with losing weight that he dreamed of gaining muscles instead of fat in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, Seo finds himself back in the demon realm and realizes that his conversation with his friend was just a dream, while his reality is now in front of him. Mangtae approaches him with a female companion, who tells Seo that he had passed out after his battle, but now regained consciousness earlier than expected. Seo, on the other hand, refuses to believe that this isn't a dream. He looks at the monster to convince himself that it's real. Countless questions flood his mind, like how he can return home, and what will happen to his chubby body now that he has gained muscles. Mangtae turns to his companion and asks for her opinion. She doesn't look happy or satisfied, while expressing her displeasure that Seo is not only a half-goblin, but also managed to fight a creature she can barely call a demon at all. This kind of demon relies entirely on brute force instead of using magic. So when it comes to facing real demons, Seo will obviously face difficulties. Eager to return home, he asks Mangtae if he can go now that he has proved himself. The old man replies that the judgment has already been passed and shows it to him. During the verdict, the demons were impressed to see Seo knock out his opponent in one go, as they believe his body might truly be hiding great power. They were even more amazed to witness goblin wrestling after a long time. The old man then declares Seo a demon instead of a human and orders the news to be spread everywhere. One of the demons is particularly excited about the upcoming festival after hearing this announcement. In the present, Mangtae explains to Seo that by listing him as a demon instead of a human, so that no demon will dare to hurt or try to eat him. This is okay with Seo, but he eagerly wants to go home and asks again. The girl in front of him scoffs at his naivety, because by declaring him a demon, he can't return to the human world unless he's 500 years old and skilled enough to hide his true identity as a demon. He tells them that he is completely harmless and won't cause any trouble, even if he goes to the human world. Seeing him still insist on his foolishness, Mangtae tries to attack him, claiming that he will kill him. To Seo's surprise, he instinctively jumps backward to dodge the attack. Mangtae explains that Seo doesn't know how much power his body possesses. Goblins are considered one of the strongest species of demons, and even in his initial form, Seo is 10 times stronger than a human. If any human were in his place, they would have been wiped out or broken down by now. Now he truly understands what Mangtae is trying to tell him, but he is still reluctant to stay there for 500 years. Mangtae tells him that it's possible that he only has to wait for 6 months. After that, the new Demon King will be chosen during the festival. He explains further that 606 years ago, demons were free to roam the human world, scaring or shaking humans however they pleased. However, there were also some human-friendly demons who saved humans from malicious ones. In this way, humans had 2 emotions toward demons. They either feared them or worshipped them. But as soon as the new Demon King ascended to the throne, he not only imposed the 500-year rule, but also forbade demons from freely going into the human world or harming humans. As a result, humans forgot about demons, and they became part of folklore that no one believed in. After 6 months, the current Demon King will lose his power, and this law will disappear as well. As a result, every kind of demon is waiting for this moment to seize it, so they can roam the human world freely again and awaken the same fear in humans that they have forgotten to have. Seo, on the other hand, is completely shocked by this revelation. Mangtae tells him that he can either wait for 6 months or strengthen his demon form. Still in shock, Seo asks what the ways are to become stronger and how much stronger he can become than other demons. Mangtae notices the sudden change in his expression and asks the reason behind it. Seo answers that he wants to protect his loved ones. In reality, he has no idea what kind of havoc demons will create when they will be unleashed on the human world, but he knows one thing, that he needs to protect his loved ones, who are humans. Mangtae tells him that even though he doesn't have the power of a pure goblin, he still possesses great power. If he masters half of it, there's a good chance he will be powerful enough that no demon will dare touch his precious humans. Additionally, there's a chance for him to become the Demon King and create a law again. This catches the attention of the female demon, who claims there's no way in this world that a half-human-looked Seo can become the Demon King. Mangtae finally remembers that he needs to introduce her as well. Her name is Seolhwa, and she's also going to participate in the festival to represent her demon species. On the other hand, Seolhwa is not interested in exchanging pleasantries. She wants to quickly pass the qualifications test and move on to the human world. Mangtae then calls off his meeting with Seo, as he has many tasks, including testing Seolhwa. She, however, arrogantly believes that she can pass this test because of her abilities in camouflage and demon energy. Mangtae interjects while saying that she also needs patience and self-control. She hopes that he won't use this as an excuse to call off the test, but Mangtae retorts that he has no such intention, as the law will disappear after 6 months anyway. However, he does have something in mind. He gives her the task of teaching Seo the foundation of being a demon. including teaching him to camouflage, as he was completely a human before. If she can teach him all of this, then he will approve both of their entry into the human world. Seolhwa protests at that, claiming that it is nearly impossible to teach everything about being a demon in just 1 month. He asks whether this is her way of saying no. He blackmails her, saying she can wait for 6 months until the law is nullified, as it doesn't matter whether it's 1 month or 6. While he's saying this, a piece of cloth swings through the air and wraps around the old man, who tells Seolhwa to take the bait and Seo. With that, he vanishes into the air. While looking at his vanished form, Seolhwa asks if he knew anything about demon energy, to which he answers negatively. Suddenly his expression turns horrified as he sees Big Mouth awakening behind Seolhwa, who doesn't know about it. Big Mouth claims he will take Seo after he will defeat him this time. However, she finds it quite annoying that this monster is using such cheap tactics. Big Mouth now turns to Seolhwa with his fist raised, but she stands there nonchalantly. Unlike humans, there are many power differences between demons because of the abilities they hold. As pure goblins have gone extinct, everyone debates over who would be the most powerful demon in Korea. However, she is sure that if demons set aside their egos, they would definitely agree that the nine-tailed demons are the most powerful among them. Seo understands that there is no use in being shocked by the new things in front of him. So, he does the most logical thing and accepts the situation as his new reality. Meanwhile, Seolhwa bursts through light energy, and a tail erupts from her. She explains to him about demon energy. She shows him her magical tail and explains that it's demon magic, and demons need to use demon energy to harness it. She further explains that there are 2 types of demon magic, inherent magic and acquired magic. He already has inherent magic, which is goblin wrestling that is in his blood. As for acquired magic, one has to learn it through practice, just like any other skill. She binds that Big Mouth with her chain magic and turns to him. She explains that, like the Big Mouth, who didn't gain acquired magic and solely relied on his big build, is bound by her simple magic, which is a great example of a demon who lacks class. Then she clearly tells him that she agrees to teach him about the demon world, but she doesn't want her effort to go in vain, so it will be better to tell her if he's not ready to learn. Looking at his disappointed face, she adds that she might kill him if he turns out to be useless, as it will be difficult for him to handle that situation since he was just an ordinary human a while ago. He, however, is determined to go with her teaching at his own power. She smirks at his determination and comments that even though she thinks he has very little chance of success, she will take the bait. Then she starts his training with his meal, which confuses him. She explains that he needs demon energy to consume magic, and every demon has it. But in his case, he might have none. The food he's eating in the human world can't produce demon energy, which means he only has the demon energy he had at the time of his birth. In other words, he must be hungry. He wants to decline her claim, but suddenly he finds his body trembling. She looks at his shaking hand and explains that he didn't have much demon energy to begin with, and he's already used it when he performed that one flip. It means his body has exhausted the demon energy. She creepily reaches toward him and whispers in his ear that it's a rule in the demon world that the official battle winner has the right to kill or spare the loser. She darkly instructs him to eat the Big Mouth in order to regain his demon energy, which is the simplest and most efficient approach to getting some. Despite his horrified expression earlier, Seo steps forward with the force of nature toward the Big Mouth, as he feels an overwhelming urge to eat him, something he's never felt before. In this moment, nothing is on his mind besides the primal urge to sate his hunger, but the goblin inside him is hungrier, driven by greed. So, Seo turns from the Big Mouth and rushes toward Seolhwa because, as the more powerful demon, she has the highest form of nutrients for him, which tempts him further. With this thought, he rushes toward her, but she immediately catches his attention and binds him in chains while scoffing at the fact that someone half-human like him has the audacity to try to eat her. She decides to teach him a lesson, but she's baffled to see that he breaks free from her one-tail's chains. Still trapped inside his demon instincts, he tries again to get to Seolhwa, who now pierces her finger to draw blood. She forms a circle with the blood and summons a great demon emperor. With that, a large fist heads towards Seo to strike him, and then there's the first wave of attack, a lightning strike hitting him. Seeing the intensity of the attack, she hopes that he doesn't get killed. But the situation reverses when she sees that her attack has pushed him to the point where he awakens an inherent magic that only some goblins have the talent to learn. The horn on his head becomes a symbol of his power as a goblin. He tears the horn off and looks at the she-demon with devilish eyes. On the other hand, she compliments his power, even though he's nothing but a half-human. Now, he has turned his horn into a spear, which is the ability called as Goblin Club, and is ready to attack her. On the other hand, Seolhwa herself is a very talented demon who has awakened the 9 tails not even a century. That's the reason she immediately recognizes the power Seo has awakened. The Goblin Club is one of the most dangerous demon weapons that demons haven't witnessed for hundreds of years. She analyzes her situation. Although she has enough demon energy, which Seo lacks, his body is surging with overwhelming power she has never experienced before. Seo is ready to strike her with the Goblin Club Shapeshifter's Thunderstrike attack. She is also ready to counter this attack, her two tails prepared. She dodges the attack with her summon's hand, which is now holding the Goblin Club. After surviving this one attack, she gets a hang of it and is ready to retaliate. Then the hand tries to take hold of the Goblin Club completely, but our boy's demon body is too persistent, holding the other edge of the weapon. Seeing this, she decides to beat him a little longer in order to make him lose the weapon, but suddenly she witnesses something that stuns her. Our guy pushes the weapon from the Demon Emperor's hand, and to the shock of the nine-tailed demon, he successfully slides it from the hand. She can't believe he can do it from the hand of the Demon Emperor. After one more pull, the weapon finally slides completely from the hand. Then, he changes the shape of the Goblin Club, as he can do at will. Now she understands that why the goblins are considered the most powerful demons. He shifts the weapon again, this time into the Club of Destruction. Now she has a hard time countering his attack because not only has the shape of the weapon changed, but its way of attacking has also transformed. She changes her tactic and summons another hand, as she is intending to give him a powerful strike with both of the Demon Emperor's hands to crush him. But he withstands the open-armed slaughter from her summon, which frustrates her greatly. She doesn't like how much stronger he has become, especially for a demon who is not only half-blood, but also just recently awakened. This is the reason why goblins reign over demons. However, she also observes that, regardless of his power, he has very low demon energy reserves. So, there is a high chance he will destroy his own body. Therefore, she decides to take the matter into her own hands and boosts her energy first with 3 tails, but then decides to go up to 5 tails in order to defeat Seo. She remarks that this half-goblin should be proud of himself for pushing her to reveal this much power, something she has never done before against any opponent. With the energy of 5 tails, she summons the upper half of the Demon Emperor, ready to pound on our guy. The summon attacks him with the 5-gate first attack, which finally lands. Now he lies on the ground, the land around him completely destroyed. He's on the verge of losing consciousness. Meanwhile, Seolhwa comments that there's a chance he might die soon, as his body is exhausted and at its breaking point. This happens when someone like Seo tries to take on someone like Seolhwa. Now, she is irritated by the expected lecture she's going to get from Mangtae. Meanwhile, she also looks at him, who is on the verge of breaking down while crying, and remembering his mom. Seeing him this pathetic, she can't help but decide to help him, albeit reluctantly. Then, she gets him up and kisses him, which is a way of transferring her demon energy, the one she's been saving for herself, to him. At the end, she grunts, hoping he'll be worth her effort. Later, he is seen waking up in a room. He looks at the door. The next moment, Seolhwa enters, while holding a cup with a very irritated expression on her face. He looks at her nervously. Next moment, he is apologizing for all the fiasco he has caused. He explains that, even though he was fully conscious of his actions, he couldn't control his body. However, she just points to the drink she brought for him and offers him to drink it before it gets cold. He immediately tries to drink it, thinking it must be some kind of medical herbal tonic, but it tastes awful. He struggles to swallow it and asks about its ingredients. She replies casually that it will make it harder for him to swallow. She tells him to take his time, as long as he finishes it. Then she points out the fact that he lost the big mouth, as he somehow had a claim on him. He just goes into hiding, fearing Seo would eat him as soon as he's spotted. It's the perfect form of nutrients for someone like him, but he is reluctant and asks for another solution to his problem. She chuckles at his naivety because he is no longer a human. It's a rule for demons to get stronger, but he cuts her sentence off, while saying that it's not his thing to use killing and eating others. However, he also adds that there are demons who might hurt the people he holds dear, so he might kill and eat if the need arises. With determination in his eyes, he tells her that he will do what he has to do. Then, he explains that he wants to know another way to get sated because he's not sure he'll get a chance at another demon. She explains that it's a method to eat another demon when there is an official battle between them, and the loser will be eaten by the winner. But this is a rule followed only in duels. Otherwise, the weak demons would go extinct. Now the thing is, after rumors will spread that he is a new goblin, so weak or easy to hunt demons won't want to fight him. Meanwhile, he won't be able to handle the stronger demons in his current state. So she has reserved something for him. She orders him to follow her, and he does so. There he finds a demon bound by her chains. He asks whether the demon is real. She answers that he is no longer a demon because gave in to his instincts. He has committed crimes that label him more as an animal than a demon. Humans know this species as kobolds. She urges him to go on and feed on it, as it's just an animal. Then, the animal attacks him, but he swiftly dodges. She is truly impressed that he can still stand on his feet, but she still has doubts, thinking his prey might run away again. His prey is the famous demon of the Hellhound clan, who foolishly kidnapped and ate another demon, causing him to go insane due to the imbalance in the demon's energy. Now, this insane demon is trying to get Seo, who doesn't consciously know how to use the demon's club. It's also clear that his prey is stronger than Seo, but Seolhwa intentionally does this so that he can awaken his demon power. However, she is shocked the next moment when she sees that he is fighting with his prey using boxing tactics. In a flashback, a younger Seo is shown in front of his instructor, who praises his natural reflexes for boxing. He even offers him a chance to make a career in boxing. Seo replies that he will consider it after losing weight. His instructor tells him not to worry about his weight, as he will eventually lose it if he sticks with the boxing. After 6 months, his instructor again offers him the opportunity to participate in a championship, while promising to help him. He also encourages him to do it, as it will help him lose weight. Back in present, he is getting ready to feed on his prey. Basically, in order to lose weight, Seo had learned a total of 16 sports, 7 of which were fighting sports. Though he had only learned those sports for a short amount of time and gave up when he didn't lose weight, his athletic goblin body absorbed the techniques, while making him a master of the 7 fighting sports. Consequently, he is successfully fighting and beating his opponent, which truly shocks Seolhwa. Finally, after beating his prey to a pulp, he wonders how he's going to eat it. To see him fighting like this, Seolhwa is convinced that he is not strong enough to meet the standard, because he wins the fight only using martial arts, which is a human fighting form. Besides, he is just awakened but successfully combines his human techniques with his demon body. At that moment, she is thinking about something when he turns to her and asks for the method of eating it. However, she tells him that the fight is not over yet. At that moment, his prey attacks him from behind and bites his shoulder. He is totally shocked to see his bleeding shoulder, while his prey, on the other hand, is ready to pounce on him again. Meanwhile, he is utterly petrified to find himself in such a situation. Seolhwa, who is analyzing his fighting, concludes that his human instincts and fear have kicked in, as humans usually fear losing their limbs during a fight. That's why he is panicking. However, he is stunned to see his shoulder intact the next moment. His abdomen has been scratched as well, but it heals almost instantly. Seeing this, he understands that his demon body has greater durability and a remarkable ability to recover quickly. Now, he throws his human instinct for self-protection aside and focuses entirely on the fight. This shift also helps him increase his physical strength. With a swift motion, he kicks his opponent far away, even though his arms feel like they're about to break. Yet, he remains standing, ready in case his opponent recovers and attacks again. But Seolhwa interjects, while stating that it's over because his powerful punch has left his opponent in a weakened state and left him unable to recover anytime soon. Then she asks how he feels using demon energy without losing control. He is baffled to learn that he has used demon energy. She explains that there is no need to use high-level demon energy. For example, what he has used to recover from the injury he received. Secondly, the last punch he used was the perfect combination of human physical strength and demon energy. She asks him to pay attention what he felt while using that punch moving forward. He admits that he felt a spark of electricity while using it. She explains that it is because he doesn't have any experience in using demon energy, which is why he is struggling to recognize it. Besides, that is the reason she made him fight with that animal, so he could get the hang of his demon energy. She then compliments his talent for using and mastering it in one go, as she had initially expected him to complete it within 10 days. She urges him to finish off his prey, as it will also help end its misery and pain. She explains that the part above the belly button is where the energy crystal is situated, and he needs to pierce that part in order to kill his prey. He slowly heads toward his prey, and she understands that it will be difficult for him to do it for the first time. Even for eating purposes, it is difficult for most people to kill anyone, so she knows he will hesitate. But finally, he kills it, thinking about his friend and mother in the human world. Then she asks whether he has anything else in his hand. He opens his fist and finds a crystal ball there. She explains that he needs to eat it to consume the demon energy of that demon. He eats it, but nothing happens. He is expecting some kind of spark. Meanwhile, he notices a crow on his shoulder and shrieks as the crow transforms into a female demon. Seolhwa, who might know this demon, asks annoyingly about her purpose for being there since she didn't call for her. The girl complains that there shouldn't be any reason for her not to meet her old friend. However, she explains that she is here for business. Then she expresses her excitement about seeing the infamous half-goblin. She further explains that she is doing a part-time job for Mangtae and has come here for this purpose. She reveals that she is here to give them rewards for defeating the kobold. Seolhwa tells her to give all of it to him since he is the one who took it down. Solmi also agrees with her, as she has been witnessing the fight from the start. She even warns Seolhwa that he might give her a tough time at the festival. Seolhwa, who is not liking this at all, arrogantly replies that he would be eaten as soon as he enters the competition. Solmi disagrees with her. Anyway, as a reward, he is given 2 choices that either he can go back home right now or become a stronger demon. The scene shifts to the human world, where Seo's friend Yusin is talking to him, complaining about where he is and where he's calling from. Instead of answering, Seo asks for a favor. He tells Yusin to inform his mother that he is going to Yusin's village, Andong, where Yusin's family runs a martial arts center. He asks Yusin to tell his mother that he's going there to lose weight. Yusin reminds him that his center doesn't accept just anyone. Seo says he knows but still insists. Yusin feels tense hearing this. He then asks him that he can tell him anything. Even if Seo thinks that he won't believe his reason, he might still help him. Before Seo can tell him anything, Solmi warns him as it is forbidden to tell the human about Demon's existence. They both will be punished if he does so. He then makes an excuse and hangs up the call, bidding goodbye to his friend. In a flashback, it is shown that when Solmi tells him about two options, he is quite enthusiastic to know that he can go back home. She assures him that it is the case. However, he declines the offer, while saying that he will go home after a month. She asks about his reasoning. He explains that while fighting with the kobold, he realizes about his shortcomings and wants to overcome those and become stronger as a demon to counter any situation. So he decides to live there and train. She is truly impressed by his hero-like dialogue. Seolhwa, on the other hand, is quite irritated by her nonsense choices, as she knows that it is just a farce. Solmi explains that it is a test to know about his personality, like humans do something similar with personality tests. Then she asks Seolhwa whether she has read what she gave her. Seeing her this carefree and casual, he realizes that compared to other demons, she looks quite like his peers. Seolhwa answers to Solmi that she couldn't read more than a page as the book is too childish, which makes Solmi frown because she had written that book for her to understand human personalities. Then she asks her to borrow Seo and changes her demon form. She comes from a magpie demon species, who can go back and forth and take any demon to the human world for 6 hours every 6 months on her responsibility. She explains this to Seo, while assuring him that she didn't lie to him at all. That's how she brings him to the human world. Now in the present, he returns her phone to her with gratitude. She asks whether he is sure he doesn't want to see his family member. He answers that he has only his mommy, and she is on a business trip. It's good for him as well since it would be difficult to leave after meeting her. Then he asks whether she would like to eat something, while saying that he will make it for her. After thinking for a moment, she asks for something she has always wanted to eat. After a while, they are sitting in the dining hall. He is a little hesitant because he is unsure whether she will like his cooked meal. She answers that it is good, as she usually dines out or eats school meals. He is boggled to hear the word school. She explains that she attends Hojong School. He is stunned again, as it is the school next to his. She adds further that she doesn't have many close friends to invite home, so this is the first time she is sharing a meal with someone. Her statement is contrary to his assumption about her, as her bubbly personality seems like it would attract many friends to be with her. Then she gives him a storage scroll that works both as a smartphone and a backpack, while informing him that it is his reward. He can easily summon it whenever he wants. The scroll works like a tool, and he opens it just like he does with a cell phone. Then she opens a box from her scroll in which 3 things are placed. One of them is his storage scroll, along with 40 demon coins, which are the higher form of currency in the demon world. The last item is the demon treasure bequeathed, which is a kind of item containing demon energy that can be used in numerous ways. She explains that usually, they only get demon coins as rewards for catching kobolds, but Mangte has given him these items to help him for the festival. Seeing the questioning look on his face, she explains that not only are humans patriotic to their countries, but demons are also loyal to their own realms. They would be proud to have a demon king from Korea. Not only that, but the opponent from Korea had fought the current king and was defeated by just a hair's breadth during the last festival. He was also a goblin, so they might be betting on him this time. After listening this, he explains that he didn't even know since yesterday that he was a goblin at all. She assures him that he is coping very well. Besides, when he is already on board to become a stronger demon, why not aim for the highest? She dryly comments that if he wants to protect humans, he should become a king and maintain the current law that protects them. Meanwhile, Seo notices something written on her scroll and points it out to Solmi. She shakes it off, saying that it is an emergency summon to call the nearby demons. When they are in the human world, they are called in case a demon is breaking the law. It is unlikely that something like this happens, but suddenly she stops mid-sentence, as she realizes that it must be true. Not only her, but our dude also senses something amiss, which turns his expression into a grave one. Later that night, Seo is checking his rewards and trying to figure out how to use them. After checking the scroll, he wears the bequeathed item and wonders whether it can be used for offense or defense, like a shield. He decides to ask her when she returns. He checks the time, realizing only a few minutes are left before they need to return to the demon world. They had arrived here at 4 p.m., and at 6, she had left for an emergency summon. Before leaving, she asked him to call her by her name since they are already friends. When it's past 10 p.m., he starts to get worried and regrets not taking her number. Meanwhile, looking at the picture of his father, he assumes that he must have goblin blood from his father's side, who was also an athlete. Besides, he remembers Magte telling him that he is already the 4th or 5th generation with very little goblin blood. Meanwhile, far away from his home, the demon chased after a human and is about to finish him off. But Solmi arrives just in time and stops it by shooting a spell at them. However, she's worried about losing all of her feathers, as there are so many of these lower demons. She rushes to the human and tries to console him, while telling him that his friend will be okay, as she's been treating him since the ambulance arrived. But another demon appears behind her in the meantime. Someone eliminates that demon while commenting that the Solmi's clan would be ashamed of her if she were taken down by such lower demons. She nervously replies that her clan doesn't have such high expectations like his. Besides, she knows that he has her back like a big brother. He, however, doesn't prefer her like a sister, and then gets back to business. He hypnotizes the person and plants a fake memory of the incident. She is impressed by his inheritance magic and tells him how she wanted to learn it and begged Seolhwa to teach her, but it was so difficult for her that she gave up. He asks how many demons she has encountered so far. She replies that she has encountered 24 of them, but all of them were kobolds with leashes on them, as it seemed they were controlled by someone else. She adds that 7 humans were killed and many more were injured, but the demons know it was a crime, so what kind of fun could they get from this incident? But he doesn't agree with her, while saying that someone is doing it not for fun, but for an advantage. She doesn't understand what advantage a demon could get from killing humans. He explains that their generation doesn't know, but humans are a great source of nutrients for demons, which is why they were hunting them in ancient times. She comments with a baffled expression that she hasn't heard this before. He explains that it's because if anyone knew about this, the human world wouldn't be peaceful, so the information wasn't passed down to the next generation. Not only this, they created this difficult exam in order to protect the human world. He continues, saying that most of the demons think the human world is nothing but boring and they weren't interested in going there until the law was maintained. But now, times are changing because of the coming of the festival. Demons are desperate to become stronger and aren't hesitant to break the law in order to do so. Recently, there have been many cases where demons have destroyed themselves in order to get stronger or prove themselves. She listens to all of this with a horrified expression. He even adds his own method. If he were doing something like this, he would prefer a silent approach instead of using kobolds he can't even control. For example, he would quietly kidnap humans and feed on them to avoid drawing attention. She comments that whoever is behind this must be a coward to attack defenseless humans. He retorts that if that person can control dozens of demons, then they must be strong enough to attack humans by themselves again. She is about to say that they shouldn't act like attention-seeking cowards, but stops mid-sentence, suddenly remembering the time. She then flies away from there while apologizing to her companion. Meanwhile, Sue, at home, senses someone and goes to the balcony to check his doubt. He doesn't remember opening the balcony door and wonders who did it. He's going to go back inside when someone shows up behind him, thinking he must be an easy prey. But when that person is about to attack Seo, his reflexes kick in and he dodges the attack without even seeing it. He immediately stands on the railing and saves himself from the attack. The person is shocked to see that he knows goblin wrestling. However, it is revealed that it is still in the goblin nature not to fall for the same tricks twice. His instinct gives him the same chill when he was bitten from behind, and he hurls his enemy away. While looking outside, he hopes that no human is hurt because of his stunt. He feels the chill again, but this time his enemy grabs his neck with the tail of a snake, while telling him that he put everyone to sleep because it would be problematic for him if humans panic around him. He leaps at him while commenting that he is quite powerful for a demon who hasn't developed his demon energy because of his goblin genes. Then, he throws him all the way to the floor while casually commenting that the floor must be weakened by his fall earlier, and now humans will blame it on an accident. He even remarks that Seo should be dead by now, considering he gave him a chance. Meanwhile, our guy understands that the fiasco Solmi is handling is caused by this demon, who seems nothing but pure danger. Then, this snake tells him to die by his hand, as he is going to favor him by giving him a mercy killing since he is at a much higher level than Seo. He then provokes him by showing him his mother's picture, telling him that if our boy submits to him, he will spare his mother. This infuriates Seo, who rushes at the snake-skinned man and is about to flip him with goblin wrestling but stops mid-motion. His enemy has a trick up his sleeve, as he has paralyzed him with his poison ability. He explains that this was his inheritance ability, in which he had to touch his opponent to poison him. The person continues babbling about how some blessed bloodlines of demons don't need this trickery, as they can petrify their enemies with a mere look. As per the rules of this world, he had to be eaten by a stronger being, as he resides at the bottom of the food chain. Besides, he didn't know how to use the weapon on his arm as well. Then he turns into his snake form and is about to devour him. On the other hand, Our guy can barely move, so he decides to use this to his advantage. He subtly uses his weapon and attacks the snake demon with it, but he is pushed away just in time by the snake man, who immediately notices the attack. Now, our boy has crashed into the wall while his enemy complements his skill to pull off an attack even while being poisoned. Suddenly, the snake man notices a small wooden sword in him. Another character appears, wearing a mask, and starts chanting a mantra to attack the snake man. Consequently, lightning surges through the snake man, who writhes in pain. That person reminds him that their night hasn't come yet, but he is there breaking the law. The snake man understands that this person is none other than a human exorcist. Meanwhile, he is thinking that he needs to end this as soon as possible, as this person seems dangerous. Not only this, he faces looming danger not only from Solmi but from her companion, against whom he is no match. Then, he unleashes his strongest spirit, which he had been saving for the festival, but now he needs to use it to survive. He plans to keep the shaman busy sparring with the kobold until he finishes off our guy. But the shaman is quite strong, as before the demon spirit can even attack him, he not only finishes it off but also takes care of the snake man as well. Then, he turns to our guy and asks about the reason for him to be there, as he doesn't feel like a partner of the snake man. Our boy retorts that he can ask the same question to him, wondering who he is. Our boy seems to recognize the voice of his friend, who now unmasks himself. Yusin is also baffled to recognize his friend in this state. Seeing his confused face, our boy answers that it's a long story. Yusin immediately bombs him with questions, but Seo tells him that he can't breathe. Yusin remembers that Seo was attacked by poisonous ability instead of just a common poison, so he can't treat him on his own. Suddenly, he notices that the poison mark is diminishing from his body and is surprised to see that he is recovering. After a while, Seo explains everything to his friend, who doesn't seem too happy to know that he is half goblin. Seo comments that it was his reason for not telling him about his family or occupation. He replies that if he did, they would probably think he's mental, but it's going to end in 6 months, which makes our boy think that he must know about the festival. He asks Yusin whether demons often attack humans. He replies that it's a rare occurrence in the last century, but now it's changing. He explains that humans are the nutrient food for demons, so over the last few months, there have been disappearances of many people from different regions. Though they don't have solid proof that demons are behind it, but they have their doubts, especially considering the blood and damage found at the homes of the missing people. But it is the first time they encounter a demon. Suddenly, a light appears, drawing both of their attention. The next moment, Solmi is at this place, apologizing to Seo for being late and asking about his well-being. But Yusin extends his sword and warns her not to come any closer, or he will treat her actions as a threat and eliminate her. Seo tries to explain that she is his ally, but Yusin interjects, saying that he knows she is a demon who follows the law, which is why he is giving her a warning before doing anything. Then, he solemnly tells Seo that for him, there is no need to get himself mixed up with demons to go home, as he is human despite the demon blood in him. These are the demons who are going to eat humans to get nutrients, so it would be ridiculous for him to get involved with them and need their permission just to go home. Meanwhile, Solmi understands Seo's perspective, who suddenly becomes a demon from human. But the problem is that he is listed as a demon, and if he breaches that contract, it won't be good for either Seo or Yusin. So it would be better if she tried to take Seo to the demon realm by herself, where he truly belongs now. She gets up with the intention of fighting Yusin, but is uncertain whether she is strong enough to defeat a shaman with such a powerful aura. She claims that she is going to take Seo as his guardian. Upon hearing this, Yusin is ready to fight her back. However, the situation takes a turn when Seo pushes his friend back, making him drop his sword. Seo notices strange engravings on the sword. Yusin, on the other hand, first thinks that maybe his friend is under demon control, but he rejects this theory as he doesn't sense such an aura coming from him. He asks Seo about his purpose for doing this. Seo answers his shaman friend that he is right about demons hunting other demons, as he had done the same thing yesterday. Though he doesn't want to hurt anyone, if he has to eat a useless demon in order to protect himself and his loved ones, he will definitely do it. Yusin tries to convince him that he is powerful enough to protect him and his mother for the next 6 months. But our guy cuts him off with more nonsense, claiming that he is going to be the next demon king. His friend asks if he has any idea what his claim means. He answers that he has very little knowledge about it, but he knows he has a chance to become one. So maybe he can stop the human world from turning into a nightmare. Yusin tries again to say something, but he consoles him, while asking him not to be upset about it. He's always like this. He believes in trying his best instead of waiting for things to happen on their own. In the end, he exclaims that he is going to do it. Yusin, now convinced by our guy's speech, conveys that he doesn't have the right to make decisions for him, whether he is human or demon. But as a demon, if he even crosses the line, he will take him down, which is agreed upon by our boy. Then he turns to Solmi and asks her name. She introduces herself as a messenger from Yumang. He puts on his mask and apologizes for interfering in their business. But he adds that if anyone breaks the demon law and hurts or murders his friend, he will hunt down whoever is involved. Then, he bids his friend goodbye, adding that he will protect his mother. Afterward, he leaves, and Solmi falls to the floor, claiming how scared she is of him, as it is her first time meeting a shaman. She assures herself, wondering if all of them are this scary. Someone else interjects, saying that Yusin is the special one. It is Goyu, Solmi's partner earlier, who now follows her there. He explains that he comes to help her because she charged in without knowing what kind of enemy she was going to face. If she faces a mystical level demon or something stronger, she must be eaten alongside him. Then, he greets our boy, who is now infamous as a half-goblin. Basically, the large population of demons is based on bestial demons who take on animal forms. The higher class of demons, who are passed down from mythical creatures like Seolhwa as a nine-tailed fox, are this kind of demon. At the top of the food chain are the demons who come from their root, and are called divine demons. These are the kinds of demons that were worshipped in the past. Now, standing in front of our guy, Goyu introduces himself as his opponent in the festival, representing his Black Tortoise clan. Goyu extends his hand towards him. Our boy is going to meet his hand, but Solmi's voice stops him, warning him not to touch it. Then she reprimands Goyu, saying that Seo is already in a bad state, but he expresses that he doesn't care at all. He meets our boy's hand, commenting that it's fun to hear Seo claim that he will become a demon king. With this, he bites his thumb to activate his acquired magic, called Spacefold. The next moment, they are in another space. Our boy Wobbly tries to stand on his feet. Goyu praises his strength, saying that not many can stand when traveling from one space to another for the first time, especially when they are pulled suddenly. Looking at his face, Goyu notices that our guy is not surprised at all. Our dude seriously asks whether he brought him here to eat him. He answers ambiguously, then asking him whether he plays video games. He answers that he did play during middle school but stopped when he entered high school. He is asked about his favorite genre of game. Our boy replies that he doesn't like online games since they are all about selling items, so he sticks to action RPG games. Goeyu likes his answer, and the next moment he attacks him, but our boy swiftly dodges it. Looking at him, Goyu observes that Seo has already assumed he has to fight with him, so she dodges his attack with that perspective in mind. He really thinks that Seo is a great demon. On the other hand, Seo's learning ability is at its peak after gaining experience from fight after fight. Having already become wary after the fight with the snake man who tricked him, he is cautious of Goyu's attack and the potential danger he could possess. Besides, he also learns how to use the destroyer's armor on his arm, which releases the demon energy and power of the user. After attacking his new opponent, he stands on guard, waiting for another attack because he has learned that until the fight ends, he needs to remain on guard even if the attack works. Though the demon energy is a new thing for him, he is getting the hang of it. He can feel it coming out from his stomach and surging through his body. He can feel that only 60% of his energy is left, as he has used 10% in his bigger attack and 3% in smaller ones. He reminds himself to use his demon energy cautiously to avoid being exhausted by the end. On the other hand, Goyu praises his power, which pushes him to the edge to use his icicles on him. He comments that he has passed the first stage. Meanwhile, our boy senses something is off. Despite his opponent's constant attacks, he doesn't sense any malicious intent coming from him. Seeing this, Goyu admits that he's bad at faking bloodlust. He further admits that he doesn't have any malicious intent in bringing him here. Instead, he did it after hearing his claim to become a king. Then he asks what Seo thinks about the Demon King. Seo answers that it's someone who will rule the demon realm and establish laws. Then Goyu explains that demon don't even consider the idea that the Demon King is the one who will rule and make the laws for the next 666 years. They choose someone based on their fighting skills only. Demons follow the rule of choosing their king because this method has been passed down through generations. It's suitable for the true nature of demons to choose their king in this way, as demons are slaves to their desires and only follow the commands of someone stronger than them. To avoid demons killing each other and eliminating those kinds altogether, they came to the conclusion that this process of choosing their demon king would serve as a measure of safety for all demons. However, it is also really difficult to rule over the demons, and every king faces difficulty doing so, including the current king. That revelation leaves our guy stunned. Goyu continues, saying that he should imagine this. If their human king stopped all humans from eating meat in order to get nutrients, Seo answers that no one would follow it, and there would be broken chaos against the king. Goyu says that he now understands his perspective, but on the other hand, demons have perfectly followed this ridiculous law for 666 years. He should now consider that, despite their demon nature, they are perfectly following this law because it's tradition for them, and the Demon King is quite powerful. But he should also understand that their patience is on the edge. Siu interjects, stating that they won't bode well if the new king makes such a law again. Goeyu agrees with him, adding that no matter how powerful the demon king is compared to the rest of the demons, he is outnumbered by the demon population if they decide not to follow him. In this way, not only will the authority of the demon king be challenged, but the very system to create one will be crumbled as well. So, it would be better if Seo doesn't state that he will be the next demon king and maintain that law, as not many demons will like this statement. He may have falsely assumed that demons are nice because of seeing Solmi, but she is just as naive, not knowing the reality of this world. Siu, on the other hand, is ready to fight him off. Goyu then makes an offer, impressed by Seo's wit and potential to become a king. If he joins his cause, he will let him rule Korea if he becomes the demon king. Though he won't still be able to ban demons from eating humans, in this way, he can make sure that the safety of his loved ones is ensured. Suddenly he asks Goyu how much stronger he is to have such high confidence in becoming the next demon king. Goyu answers that he might not be the strongest in Korea, but he is strong enough to participate in the festival. Then he accepts the deal after hearing Seo's statement, extending his hand to him. Goyu is glad to hear this and meets his hand. However, he is shocked after feeling the attack of demon energy through the handshake. Now, Seo's instinct for goblin wrestling is on a different level, as he has used almost all of his remaining energy in this one attack. He didn't do it on instinct, but consciously. Then he attacks Goyu again with his goblin wrestling, with steel determination and resolve. After a while, when the dust settles, we can see him, clearly shaking after using almost all of his demon energy. Now he doesn't have any source of recovering his energy and stamina, so there's no chance he will continue this fight anymore in this state. Goyu is now in front of him, praising his combat skill as he skillfully holds his intent while attacking him. Then, he uses his inheritance energy, which is Arctic frost, freezing and controlling the water around him, and using it to his command in order to attack the enemy. Goyu then asks for his last words. Siu tells him that he doesn't have any intention of sharing his will with his enemy. Besides, Goyu had tried to kill and eat him, so he deserves the same treatment. It's getting ahead of himself, though, because our boy stands up once again, claiming that it's far from over. Goyu observes it as he's eyeing our boy, wondering if he has determined how to find the opening in his attack. Somehow, our boy has awakened the combatant skills of the goblin. It looks like Goyu is about to attack him while saying that Seo is talking big for someone on the verge of losing consciousness. Suddenly, he tells him that our guy has passed some kind of test, as he's going to support him, and he doesn't want to do it for someone who doesn't deserve it at all. Siu doesn't understand his abrupt words at the moment, so Goyu starts lecturing him on why he should not become a demon king. He admits that everyone is looking forward to the Night of the Demons, but he's not looking forward to it. He explains that he doesn't like the devious nature of demons, who devour and fight each other, compared to the peace in the human world. He also expresses that he is one of those demons who likes how humans create mundane and useless things like books and comics, which don't exist in the demon realm. There, he doesn't want the human world to be affected, as these things won't exist due to demon interference. By looking at him, Seo notices that he is saying there's a chance there are others with the same ideology as him and Solmi as well. Meanwhile, he asks whether it's a good enough reason to support him, as he can become a demon king himself. He answers that he has a chance to be strong in Korea but not become a king. He explains that it's because almost every candidate comes from the old clan with rich history, so the talented ones will be handed the inherent magic generation by generation. It's the same way someone is born with a golden spoon in the human world. Basically, there's great suffocation from the clan to become a demon king and favor their clan if they find someone's talent. And if that talented person doesn't do it, they will kill him and replace him with another representative. Our guy feels sad at the cruelty of the clan system. Unfazed by his emotions, Goyu tells him that he has a great chance to become a demon king since he has the motive and power to become one without the pressure of any clan. At that, our boy tries to tell him to control his horse, as he needs a minute to think it over. Next moment, a very infuriated Solmi appears in her beast form and kicks Goyu hard. Our boy is too baffled by the situation and tries to explain it to her. However, she tells him that it won't put a scratch on Goyu. Maybe he'll flee away. Siu doesn't understand what she's saying. She explains that this person is not the real Goyu, as he has a split personality. Basically, the black tortoise is a combination of a snake and a tortoise. First, it was a tortoise. Then someone found a way to separate the yin and yang energies. With the help of the yin energy, they created the black tortoise. Afterward, that generation passed down the power and the training required to become a complete black tortoise. But this clan had a side effect, called the snake, which was the personality of Goyu that Siu had witnessed minutes before. Siu comments that it's not like Goyu seems like a bad person. She agrees with him, saying that despite his mischievous nature and selfishness, he's not inherently bad. She explains further that the snake is the submissive part of the black tortoise, usually working as an advisor to the dominant tortoise personality. But Goyu is a rare case, as his snake side has been active since birth and can take over his body whenever he wants. That's why many demons objected when he became the representative of his clan, but didn't press the matter because of the power Goyu possessed. Then she tells him to get ready to head back. Seeing his loose expression, she explains that he won't be punished for being late. He explains that it's not the case, as he's worried about the mess in his home veranda. When his mother returns, she will be worried about it. Next, Mangte interjects, saying that some demons specialize in cleaning, and they will take care of it. Then he orders Solmi to go ahead, as he wants a private conversation with Seo. Solmi misunderstands the situation and tries to explain that it wasn't Seo's fault that they're late. He explains that he knows, and he just wants to talk to Seo. Meanwhile, Seolhwa enters his apartment, commenting on its size and coziness. Seeing her there, he asks if she came here on her own, or how she arrived. She arrogantly answers that she's not someone who would rely on someone else to be in the human world. It was Mangtai who dragged her there. Then she demands that he explain what he was going to explain. He actually wants to explain the incident that happened recently. They've just found 50 kobolds attacking humans in the southeast of Seoul, South Korea. When they were cleaning up, they realized that the traces they left were intentional. So, they think it must be a trick to draw their attention, while the mastermind targets Seo. But that's not the case. With a dead serious expression, he tells them that around 200 humans have been kidnapped from Seoul, making it seem like something much bigger than just targeting Seo. He adds that these are only the kidnapped humans who have been reported to the police station, and there's a chance that number could be as high as 500. Everyone is tense upon hearing this. Solmi adds that it seems like at least 5 demons must be involved in this. Besides, they can trace them with the help of a suspect list. He cuts her off, explaining that, according to their information, the demons must be from outside of Korea. They might have been caught in their own country, so they targeted Korean people instead. Therefore, they need to catch and punish the culprits, and he needs their help for this. Seolhwa immediately understands what he's about to say next. Mangtae explains that, essentially, he was supposed to take a qualification test for them to enter the human world in a month. However, due to the dire situation, he'll have to take it now. For this purpose, they need to track down and eliminate the demons involved in the kidnapping of Koreans as soon as possible. The scene shifts to a very tired-looking and sleep-deprived Yusun, who is still worried about our boy and wonders whether he did the right thing by leaving him alone. He even decides to make another plan to rescue him. His thoughts are interrupted by the very person he's been thinking about. Our boy nervously tells him he's there, as Yusun's phone was off. After a while, they are sitting in a cafe. As soon as Seo explains what happened the previous night and the task they need to complete for the qualifications test, Yusun tries to voice how crazy this idea is. Seo explains that he's happy with this option, as it allows him to live in the human world, but Yusun doesn't seem quite as happy about it. He asks what kind of class Seo is in as a demon. Seo expresses his ignorance, saying that he became a demon just a few days ago. Yusun explains that there are 5 classes of demons: divine, spirit, mystic, fiend, and beast. At first, Seo thinks these are just names of demons, but Yusun clarifies that they are classifications of demons, with the lower ones being beasts. Like the animals of the human world, beasts are more numerous. They are easy targets and can get taken down by normal humans. The next class, fiends, are stronger than beasts, and it would take hundreds of thousands to eliminate one because of their physical strength. Seo is quite tense hearing this and asks about the other demons stronger than these two. Yusun explains that although he doesn't have much experience as a shaman, as far as he knows, a mystic demon can destroy a small city on its own. As for spirit and divine demons, they are too strong to defy the law. So Yusun advises him to stay away from the matter and even offers his help if he needs to hide. He adds that if the demon comes from outside of Korea, they must be prepared to fight another demon and shaman like him. In other words, they are dealing with at least mystic-level demons. Sue asks about the class of the demon from yesterday. Yusun answers that it must have been at least a fiend-class demon, but it was controlling a powerful body without having complete control over it. He then accuses Seo of being a fiend-class demon because he was about to be eaten by one yesterday. So, Yusun says it would be better for him to stay away from this business. Meanwhile, Yusun is thinking that he must be harsh on his friend, but he is doing it for his best interests. However, Seo insists that he can do it, despite failing yesterday. Yusun retorts that he's not going to school, but instead, he's going to give him a lesson today. He then asks him to follow him. Yusun leads him to the basement of the Olympic Stadium, a place hidden from the common person's eyes. Seo assumes that this stadium is built by his family, but Yusun corrects him, explaining that it is the work of the government, as there are plenty of other shaman and mage families as well. At that, he wonders whether they know about the existence of the demons and the danger looming over them. His friend answers that it is not the case. Instead, shamans have always been in service to the governing body of the country since ancient times. Back in the day, it seems like a very powerful business to fight demons, so at that time, it might have been the case that shamans were the ones who built the country. However, 666 years ago, the royal agency is created by the royal family of that time to train young shamans, and his family has been in service since then. At the end, he adds that only a few higher-ups in the government know about the reality of the demons, but he doesn't think they are taking the matter seriously. Then he takes off his blazer and gets ready to fight our hero. He challenges him to come at him with everything he's got, without any rules or restrictions. If he is able to take him down, he won't stop him from doing whatever he wants. On the other hand, our guy doesn't seem enthusiastic about it and asks whether he isn't using his sword. He answers that using the sword indeed makes him powerful, but he can take down a fiend demon with his hands alone. If our guy isn't stronger than a fiend, then he won't be able to defeat him. That's the purpose of the fight. He then challenges our boy to come at him now. With a hesitant and trembling hand, he charges at his shaman friend, who fights back and knocks him down. Meanwhile, Yusin is not interested in asking about his friend's well-being because he knows he will recover quickly due to his demon genes. For that reason, he doesn't hold back his punches. Then he looks at our boy, who is still standing, and chuckles while commenting on how his friend looks like a hero from a comic. Meanwhile, Yusin also realizes that his fist is hurt from punching his demon friend, as it feels like hitting a rock. If he doesn't charge it with energy, it would be crushed. At this moment, both friends realize the power of the other. That's why our guy decides not to hold back, while his friend understands that our boy is more powerful than he expected. Then our boy charges at his friend again. Yusin notices that he is faster than before, but his fighting pattern remains the same. Our guy clasps his friend's wrist to flip him, but Yusin stands firm on the ground. At the same time, Seo is able to summon his goblin club, which stuns his friend as well since it is the first time he does so of his own will. Despite the fact that our boy successfully summons his goblin club, he has used nearly 30% of his demon energy due to his earlier fight with Goayu. This means he is almost completely exhausted, something he can't afford considering he won't recover until he rests for the day. Not to mention, he is living in the human realm, where he has no means to recharge demon energy. However, the good thing is he remembers his last fight using the goblin club, so he knows how to wield it again. On the other hand, Yusin is not truly impressed by the goblin club, as he has already read about how great it is. He assumes that either the books exaggerated its power or his friend's club is weaker. He concludes it is the latter case. But the next moment, Seo attacks him with all his might, but Yusin protects himself with his energy. His plan is simply to stay on the defense and let Seo charge at him until he tires himself out. However, he is shocked to see that Seo has changed the shape of his club, with one part of the club stuck to the wall like a chain and the other in his hand. Yusin asks about his plan, and Seo answers with a victorious expression that he won't be able to defeat his friend in close combat, so he is trying something else. He remembers that the last goblin club was quite powerful, but since he can't summon it this time, he decides to use the shape-shifting capabilities of his weapon and charges it at his friend. Yusin, however, barely dodges the attack. He even shouts that Seo is using a cheap trick. Our guy answers that Yusin is the one who asked for this test to see whether he can hold his own against a demon. If his life is on the line, he will use whatever it takes, even cheap tricks. Yusin for a moment feels like he is cornered, but the next moment he charges himself with energy and declares that he is not going to hold back, which satisfies our boy as well. Seo charges at his friend again, who is dodging his attacks with his speed. However, with each passing attack, Seo begins to get used to the pattern of speed. Then suddenly, it feels like his attack connects with his friend, which makes our guy worried. He asks about the well-being of his friend, but the next moment, Yusin is seen holding the edge of his club perfectly, while chanting a mantra against his demon friend. The next moment, he shoots an arrow toward him, cutting his club in half. But our boy quickly gets a grip on his club once again. On the other hand, Yusin is at a great disadvantage without his shaman tools, which restricts his ability to use powerful spells against his friend. Besides, he won't be able to control his spells properly without a tool. So, he does what he can as he creates a spirit sword using his shaman energy and dashes forward. The next moment, their weapons clash with each other and Seo's weapon is broken, which baffles him. However, Yusin is also holding back to avoid hurting his friend. But Seo remains persistent, and in the end, he punches his friend hard, knocking him down. It feels like our boy himself can't believe that he has defeated his friend, and assumes his friend must have been holding back. His friend answers that he wasn't holding back, as he had created the best demon sword, one capable of defeating even a mystic demon. But in the end, the sword recognized him as human, and he couldn't use it against him. He exclaims in frustration how unfair it is. The scene changes to Yusin with a bandage on his nose while our boy is fidgeting, which annoys his friend. Seo asks about his nose and whether it will leave a scar. He answers that he has gone through difficult training, so it won't leave a scar and will heal in a day. Besides, He knows our boy held back when punching him. If he had punched him with all his might, it would have crushed his nose. Then he permits him to do whatever he wants. Our boy thanks him for understanding. Yusin clarifies that it's not understanding. It's because of the deal they made. Then he extends a gourd bottles to him. Yusin explains that these are a kind of bomb he can use in emergencies. He teaches him how to use it and adds that, given his power, just holding them is enough to make them explode. He warns him not to use more than one simultaneously, even if the situation demands it. Seeing it, he hesitates to take the gourds as he can sense an immense amount of energy coming from them, meaning they must be difficult to make. At this, his friend asks whether he has seen something like this before. He answers negatively, adding that he can feel the same shaman energy he sensed coming from Yusin during their fight. It's true because those are shaman tools created by Yusin himself to store his shaman energy. These tools are powerful and meant only for emergencies, and anyone possessing them can use shaman spells. Yusin is baffled to see that his friend can sense the energy from the gourds even though it is sealed. He then asks Seo to give him his hand. What he is doing is palm reading. Yusin knows he can read one thing from his friend's palm, which is his spiritual energy. He is shocked to read that he has a natural talent to become a shaman. Seeing this, his mind starts to reel at the possibilities of making his friend a shaman. He first regrets that if he is not a demon, he can ask his father to train him. But then a new notion comes to his mind. Whether he should ask his father to take him as his disciple since Seo is still half human. Then he rejects this idea as well because there are people who won't see this humbly. Even if he is not his friend, he won't look kindly on a goblin who has the potential to become a shaman. Seeing his confused expression, Yusin tells him that he has a tough life ahead of him, which makes our guy wonder whether Yusin can read it through his palm. Then he changes the topic and asks Seo when he is going to come back to school. He expresses his concern about his uniform and clothing, as everything has shrunk down after he gains muscles instead of fat. Yusin playfully remarks about how everyone is going to get crazy to see his new look. Our guy doesn't look happy about that perspective of things, despite his friend looking forward to it. Then he checks the time. It's already lunchtime. Seo offers to treat him, but Yusin insists he goes to Seo's place, as he made wonderful fried rice last time. At that, our boy awkwardly tells him that he has a guest at his home. Besides, he needs to go somewhere after lunchtime. Sensing his awkwardness, Yusin assures him that he doesn't need to be so cautious, reassuring him that he's not going to meddle with demon business. So, he decides to make plans for lunch some other time and steps ahead. He stops for a moment and tells our guy that he hasn't done anything wrong, so he should walk with his head high and have confidence in himself. After a while, our boy is standing in the old neighborhood, finding a certain location, wondering if he's at the right place or not. Then he reads a Chinese house nameplate. The next moment, a man opens the door, and the boy immediately recognizes him as a strong demon. He steps past him and finds a woman standing at the door who welcomes him as the vice head of the Yanghoi house. He introduces himself and mentions that Mang Tae sent him there. She asks him to go inside, as they already knew about his arrival. When he goes inside, he feels like a dark cloud is looming over the place. When they enter, he's shocked to find Chinese-style houses there. He settles himself down in front of his host, from whom he asks about his suspicions, wondering if they're not in Seoul. He can feel that the air is fresh, unlike the air of the city. She confirms it by saying that it's the rising dark moon quarter, which is a separate space from the city, and that's why the air is fresh. She informs him that their main purpose is to serve as a store for the demons living in the human world, while helping them adjust there. He remembers the same words Mangtai mentioned about them. Then he summons his storage scroll, shows her his money, and asks whether he can buy things with this currency. She answers affirmatively, while adding that they also work with exchanges. He shows his confusion about it, and she explains that they can also exchange monster currency for human currency. Recently, one monster coin can be exchanged for 3 million won. When he calculates the amount he will get for his monster coin, his face pales as he realizes how much money he can get. Then she shows him a monster pill, which is a kind of medicine made for monsters to acquire their demon energy, something that's quite different from how it's acquired in the natural human environment. He decides to purchase some, as he needs demon energy so much. Then he notices that they are available in different colors, so he asks her whether it's because they have different efficiencies. She tells him that it's the case, as the golden and silver demon energy pills cost the most, compared to the black ones due to their effectiveness and consumption. She, however, recommends him to try the black one if he wants recovery now. He decides to take the black one, as she told him he will recover by tonight. However, in her mind, she thinks that he won't be able to digest even the black one, because it totally depends on the absorption rate of the monster Neden, which expands as the demon gets older and consumes other demons. But in the case of our guy, it is difficult for him to digest it because, being a half-demon, it will take him 2 to 3 days to digest half of the black pill, and the remaining will be discharged from his body, unlike any high-class demon. She still insists that she isn't lying at all. If he's able to take part of that black pill, he can recover his insufficient demon energy by tonight. The next moment, he takes the pill, and there's a blazing light in front of his host, who is baffled to see that this is the extent of the monster force he had absorbed, that he had digested the pill in just a few seconds. While burning with demon energy, it's the first time he feels more than 100% of his demon energy, even though he is only a half-demon. A few minutes ago, somewhere else in the rising dark moon quarter, the leader of the quarter, Dangwu, is serving special liquor to some demon. However, this demon is more interested in seeing Hongryun, as she should serve him now after seeing someone else. The leader answers that she will be here after finishing her business with a person sent by the higher-ups. This piques his interest, and he assumes this person must be important. The leader informs him that it's a half-goblin. He is disappointed to hear this, and mocks Seo for being a half-goblin who is going to participate in the festival. He thinks his grandfather should have just left this dying bloodline alone, but he brought Seo into it, someone who shouldn't even have the right to call themselves a demon. Suddenly, this snobbish monster notices that his host stopped serving him liquor. Then he starts to taunt him, while saying that he stopped because he himself is a half-blood. He adds that he has heard this quarter is full of half-monsters who can't call themselves human, but can't be acknowledged by demons either. For him, it's a pretty good idea for them to prove their usefulness to demons. He, at the end, concludes that these half-demons will never be called demons. To this, the leader changes his expression and tells him that he can't see a future and asks him to have more liquor. The guest is disappointed to see his unbothered expression. Then he gets to business and asks about his tone for going into the human world. The leader informs him about the preparation he has done for him to roam around in the human world without encountering many humans. He adds that he can do as much because Useom is doing this to save the human world. But the Useom rejects his statement by saying that he is doing it because he assumes this human world belongs to them, so an outsider doesn't have the right to steal their humans from them. Meanwhile, he is thinking that he took this task in order to get acknowledged by his father so that he can prove himself as a participant from his clan. He wants to suppress the other two candidates from his clan and be acknowledged as a potential candidate to participate in the festival. Then the leader is about to leave and sends Hongryun to his place, but this demon stops him as he wants something from him. He tells him that he wants to have his vice head at his service for the time being while he is living in the human world. At this, the leader protests that they don't do such a thing, but this demon is too snobbish to listen and demands that he bring her here. Meanwhile, they witness a strong flare of demon energy coming from another part, which catches their attention immediately. Basically, energy resides in every living creature like water in their bodies. So, no matter if they are human, demon, or any other species, they will use that energy, anything to the capacity they hold, to store this energy within themselves. So, basically, this is the universal principle. The next moment, Seo is asking about the well-being of his host and apologizing for the inconvenience caused by him. He feels incredible after having this pill. In reality, this basic principle seems like it doesn't apply to our guy. Meanwhile, the so-called snobbish young master decides to intervene by calling Seo so uneducated that he let his energy scatter around. Hongryun interjects by saying that it was all her fault, not Seo's. He then shuts her up by saying he didn't allow her to open her mouth. He scoffs at how Seo can't control his demon energy. She, on the other hand, apologizes for the inconvenience to him. Seeing this young master using such words toward him and his host, he is angry because now he is brimming with demon energy, and he is closer to his demon form instead of his human form, in which he was a gentle soul. He turns to the demon and calls him simply rude, asking what our boy said. Now our boy changes his tactic and calls him rude again, but this time more sternly. This infuriates the young master, who is ready to fight with Seo in order to teach him a lesson. Meanwhile, Hongryun tries to reason with him, saying that violence is not allowed in this place, as it will be problematic for them if the Great Room finds out about this incident. But he doesn't listen to her at all and even watches her as if she has dared to overstep her boundary, throwing an insult at her, calling her a half-blood. Meanwhile, she is totally unprepared for that attack, which she doesn't sense because it is the inheritance magic of the Haiti species. Then he turns to our boy and demands that he kneel in front of him so he can teach him some manners. Then our boy steps ahead, saying that if he's saying that this is an ill manner, then they should just fight. With that, he takes a fighting stance. Yuseom agrees with him, assuming our boy has a death wish. He then attacks our boy, who comments that it feels like the young master threw a water droplet at him with full speed. He even comments that some of it feels like tea. Our boy concludes that he must have collected the water droplets from the grass and his surroundings to shoot at him with full speed. In the end, he deadpans that he had a similar experience today, and compared to that, the young master seems like a child. Then he rushes to this snobbish monster while apologizing for hurting his little pride. Meanwhile, his enemy is more than infuriated, noticing his fighting style pattern. When he thinks that he has predicted Sio's movements, Sio changes his tactic and attacks him on his stomach with all his force. Now, he understands this is Sio's way of predicting his movements. So, he changes the tactic and asks his opponent whether he is hurt at all. Meanwhile, Hong Ryun, who is observing his fighting style, is awed by his power, as well as his eminent talent to deceive his enemy, in which he had predicted that his enemy was reading his movements and changed them. She doesn't understand how this 3-day-old demon can be this powerful. The next moment, our boy demands the young master apologize to the woman who is trying to stop the fight. But the young master doesn't have any intention of asking for that apology. Instead, he pierces his arm with his impudence spell and attacks him, which our boy successfully dodges, resulting in the fall of the young master. However, the table is turned as the young master uses his special power. Basically, with the spell of Heite, the members of that clan can gather water from their surroundings and shape it to the extent that they can use it as metal. But there is another aspect to this attack. It can also work like poison once it is added to the blood of his opponent. The young master says that even the demon can recover his limbs, but when it comes to poison, it will take more time to recover. Siu falls on the floor with the effect of the poison, while the young master says that he does give credit to him for being great, giving him he is just a half-demon, but he never had experience with the poison before. Then the young master is ready with his water weapon to finish our boy, while claiming that he will never be a full demon. At that, our dude conveys that it doesn't matter whether he is ever called a demon or not, but the young master is quite a cheap person. Meanwhile, the young master gets a chill when he sees that our boy has already healed and now has a demon club. This situation is too unbelievable for this crap of a demon, but he recovers immediately and charges Ishimi towards our boy. It is an attack made with crystal water from his surroundings. In this case, he has taken the water from underground. This water is 100 times heavier, which results in a velocity equivalent to that of a jumbo truck at full speed. On the other hand, our boy is planning to shape his club, as he has learned from his last fight that the right shape of his club can increase its power. So he decides to shape his club into a sword. Though he is not an expert in sword fighting like his friend, he decides to take a shot at it. Basically, he just needs to sharpen the blade of his sword and charge it up. Besides, he has enough demon energy to do so. He successfully cuts the young master's attack in half. The young master, on the other hand, is totally baffled to see his attack disappear as soon as the water falls to the floor. The next moment, our boy is behind him, repeating his statement that he told him that he can recover 1 or 2 limbs with enough demon energy, so he cuts both of the young master's arms because he isn't going to hold back. After that, our boy is standing in front of him and asks whether he is feeling any pain. As he is used to it being a true demon, then he kicks him away. The young master is seen shaking, thinking that his clan rules over many demons, and being the youngest member of that clan, he is quite obnoxious, and never feels the need to apologize to anyone or face anyone who can really defeat him. Our boy asks whether the young master is ready to apologize, and he immediately asks for forgiveness. Siu says that he doesn't want one, but to ask the woman there. The young master is hesitant to apologize to the woman, as he still thinks she is beneath him, but Sio reminds him that he can go another round with him if he hasn't learned his lesson yet. The next moment, he immediately bows down before Hongryun and asks for forgiveness. Meanwhile, Seolhwa wakes up in his apartment, asking for a glass of water from our absent hero. When she realizes he is not at home, her expression turns irritated. The scene shifts to Moryong, the headmaster of Yanghoi, who begins by expressing regret and anger for the trouble caused during his absence. The leader apologizes for not managing the situation better, admitting that he underestimated the challenges. He says the blame does not lie with him and Hongryun as they are not capable of handling the youngest member of Heide clan. Moryong then inquires about Hongryun's condition, learning that her injuries are not severe, but that she is emotionally devastated. She feels responsible for the chaos because she gave Sio the black pill without fully understanding the consequences. Moryong acknowledges her mistake, but notes that it was his exceptional ability to absorb the pill that allowed her to reflect on her actions. Meanwhile, our guy is grappling with a mental breakdown. Unlike 4 days ago, when he lost control over his body due to overwhelming demon energy, he lost control because of the overbrimming demon energy. Now he stabilizes his energy crystal and calms down. Reflecting on the fight, he justifies his actions. He acknowledges that cutting off the young master's arms was necessary to stop him from using his dangerous magic, which could have killed someone. However, he feels disturbed by the realization that he derived pleasure from the violence. This conflict leaves him shaken. While our guy is lost in thought, Hongryun comes to him. Concerned about her injuries, he asks how she is doing. Hongryun downplays her condition, but he reminds her that throwing up blood is serious and should not be taken lightly. She suddenly bows and apologizes, while admitting that she was not in her right mind and made mistakes. She takes full responsibility for the chaos, especially for giving him the black pill. Our guy reassures her that the blame lies with those who fought, not her. However, she shocks him by revealing her true motivations, that she gave him the black pill out of jealousy. Hongryun explains her envy stems from being a half-demon like Seo but lacking his abilities. She shares that half-demons often cannot store demon energy in their crystals, making their existence painful and incomplete. They can sense demon energy but cannot absorb it, leaving them perpetually longing for something they cannot have. She admits that she envied his exceptional talent, as he is not only capable of absorbing energy, but does so at an incredible rate. This jealousy led her to deceive him by recommending the black pill. She apologizes deeply, saying her actions were driven by resentment, and she offers to accept any punishment he deems necessary. As Hongryun speaks, the headmaster arrives and interrupts their conversation. He introduces himself to him and dismisses Hongryun, saying he will handle the situation personally. Our guy informs the headmaster that he has already forgiven Hongryun and requests a refund for the black pill. The headmaster agrees, while Hongryun expresses gratitude for his generosity, even though she feels her apology was insufficient. The headmaster then reveals a startling fact that Useom Siu fought is the youngest son of the prestigious Haitai clan. This revelation surprises him, as Useom's behavior does not align with the grace and dignity typically associated with the clan. The headmaster warns that misunderstandings are likely because Useom will not present the facts objectively to his family. To prevent escalation, the headmaster suggests arranging a meeting between the two sides to explain their respective circumstances. However, our dude refuses, while saying that he would rather confront the clan directly if needed. He asserts that he will explain the truth that Useom resorted to violence over a simple apology and forced him to defend himself. The headmaster acknowledges his reason, but warns him not to underestimate the Haiti clan. Useom's siblings are far more powerful than the young master he defeated. Our guy admits that he expects nothing less, and states he is prepared for future battles, as his ultimate goal is to become the Demon King. By listening this, he remarked, "Our boy is quite bold if his statement, and most demons won't take this statement lightly." Especially he had witnessed what demons like Useom did. He ambiguity trying to tell him about his purposes of becoming a demon king, just stopping that demons invading the human world. By listening this new purpose of our hero, the headmaster is impressed by his resolve and offers him a token of apology from the Yang Hoi house. However, he frames it as an investment in his future rather than a mere gift, showing his growing admiration for our guy's potential. Later, when he enters into his apartment, Seolhwa arrives and scolds our guy for taking so long. She informs him that she has spent the night gathering information about missing people. Based on her findings, she identifies areas likely to be hunting grounds for foreign demons. She declares their plan to investigate one of those locations that night and hunt down the demons responsible. However, before the mission, she insists on preparing properly. She then scolds him for being a poor host and made her wear his gym clothes that smell of his sweat. Ignoring his protests, she tells him that they are going to buy new clothes for her. Our guy and Seolhwa visit a massive department store, and he is taken aback by its size, mentioning that he has seen larger stores in the countryside. Seolhwa comments that how impressive it is that they built something this massive without demon magic. For our guy, this outing marks his first visit to a department store and his first shopping experience. As a teenager, he has always had an interest in fashion and had been saving his allowance for a moment like this. However, his past insecurities about his weight often held him back. When he was overweight, his friends used to encourage him to shop, but he always declined, saying he would wait until he lost weight. Standing in the grandeur of the store now, he feels like this is a long-awaited dream coming true. He reassures Seolhwa that she can try on anything she likes, promising to pay for whatever she chooses. She agrees, but when he checks the price tags, he realizes that he might not fully grasp the typical price ranges of such an upscale store, especially since it is his first time shopping there. As they explore, salesgirl enthusiastically remarks that girlfriend of his must be thrilled to have someone so generous. Seolhwa then tries on a stunning dress and asks him how it looks. Although he feels nervous about the cost, he tells her she looks amazing. Internally, he feels relieved that he had exchanged some of his demon coins earlier, ensuring he could afford this shopping spree. After checking the Amoymt Seolhwa shop fit, he was quite depressed, but brushed off by thinking that it is thanks to her help that he has even been able to get his hands on demon coins. Seolhwa insists on going ahead that she needs more than just one outfit. Though slightly alarmed by the mounting expenses, our guy keeps his composure. Seolhwa hands him 10 demon coins, explaining that he should use them if he runs out of funds for her purchases. He is overwhelmed by her gesture but accepts the coins. She confidently moves from one dress to another, showing them to him, seeking his opinion, and enjoying the shopping process. Our guy notes how, despite it being her first time in the human world, Seolhwa seems to know exactly what she wants. She credits her knowledge to Solmi, who had made her read fashion magazines and practice shopping strategies. He realizes that this preparation has made her far more adept at navigating this experience than he is. While they are shopping, a man bumps into our guy without apologizing. Seolhwa notices this and criticizes the man for his rudeness, adding that humans seem to be too soft when dealing with such behavior. She insists that our guy should have dealt with the situation more assertively, suggesting that letting people off easily makes him appear weak. She points out that this behavior could make him an easy target, especially in the world of demons, where strength is respected above all else. She begins to lecture him, emphasizing the importance of completely overpowering opponents to prevent future challenges. She brings up the encounter he had with a member of the Heyday clan, confidently stating that she could sense their presence on him. She describes the youngest member of the clan, recalling his rude demeanor and mocking look. Our guy confirms her observations, admitting that he has encountered the Heyday clan. Seolhwa responds by recounting her own encounter with the clan's middle child, who had challenged her out of rivalry. She mentions that despite the middle child being 100 years older, she had thoroughly defeated her and made it clear that she should stay out of her sight. Seolhwa uses her experience to prove her point that he must stop being a pushover and show his strength decisively. She acknowledges that it might be difficult for him to adopt the mindset of a demon overnight, but insists that when he chooses to fight, he must do it effectively. According to her, showing strength up front would actually reduce the need for future violence. Her commanding tone leaves him no room to argue, and he agrees to her advice. The scene shifts to a young couple rushing ahead. The girl is excited about being at the store and urges her boyfriend to hurry. However, as she turns around, she realizes he has disappeared. She initially assumes he is playing a prank, unaware that he has fallen prey to a demon lurking nearby. The demon who eats a man approached by another one who informed him about the approach of Korean demon who are going to hunt them down. She reminded him the warnings from their broker that they can't engage wide country demon. But this reminded her that they have been already breaking rules and hunting the humans. Why not eat 2 more demons by assuming that they will be easy prey? Back in the store, Seolhwa reveals to our guy that the department store is known for human disappearances. She explains that she has been scattering her energy intentionally to lure any hidden threats out into the open. She warns him that the city is teeming with dangerous demons and that they must be prepared to confront them. At the end, she acclaimed that through need to tell these demos that this city is their hunting ground. Seolhwa explains to our guy that the area they're in isn't just a bustling department store. It's strategically significant because of the intersection of 3 subway lines and a bus terminal connecting Seoul to the countryside. These factors have turned the location into the heart of the city, with thousands of people passing through daily. She adds that this crowd density makes it easy for people to vanish without drawing much attention. If someone disappears in such a crowd, most will assume they wandered off or went elsewhere, and no one would immediately suspect foul play. Seolhwa assesses the lingering energy in the area and concludes there are 4 demons in the vicinity. She speculates that the demons have divided their hunting grounds as 2 are at the department store, 1 at the bus terminal, and 1 on the subway line. However, she is unsure about their specific species. Our guy suggests reporting the situation to a judge since they're outnumbered and lack detailed information about the demons. Seolhwa dismisses the idea, pointing out that in this case, the demons are actively provoking them, and reporting might give the demons time to prepare and escape. They are aware they're being hunted but won't flee because they've already devised countermeasures. Despite this, Seolhwa insists that they need to be captured. She explains that they cannot act recklessly. Unlike the demons, they have to follow rules and avoid harming humans, which limits their approach. The fight, she predicts, will likely take place within the department store, as its closing time will provide fewer human witnesses and interference. Night falls, and the scene shifts to the rooftop of the department store, where the demon siblings are discussing their plans. Vigran notices Chain's absence, and Ray reveals that she left, uninterested in their mission. When Ray confronts Chain, she explains that while the situation sounds intriguing, she prefers her current way of life and has no intention of risking it. Chain admits that the group isn't reliable enough and announces her intention to find a new hunting ground. She parts ways with them, wishing them luck but making it clear she won't be involved further. The remaining 3 demons acknowledge that Chain was never truly part of their team, deciding that they can proceed without her. As they plan, Vigran expresses the group's ambition. They intend to consume as many humans as possible, grow stronger, and return to their homeland with enough power to rise to dominance. They dream of becoming demon kings and ruling Zhongyuan, erasing the humiliation their family once endured. However, their discussion is interrupted by the sudden, overwhelming presence of Seolhwa's energy. In an instant, her aura engulfs the entire building, and her voice echoes with a commanding presence. The siblings are stunned, realizing the threat she poses. Vigran notes her exceptional control and recognizes her as a genius among fox demons. Seolhwa confronts them with cutting remarks, expressing disgust at their foul energy. She directs Weilan to head downstairs, leaving Vigran and Ray to face her. The demons strategize quickly. Vigran volunteers to fight Seolhwa, while Ray plans to deal with the faint energy they sense below, likely belonging to our guy. Weilan acknowledges the plan and prepares to leave, but Seolhwa mocks their decision, saying they should have told her to run as far as possible if they wanted to save her. Both siblings sense the powerful aura coming from our fix heroine. They understand that she might have the power to destruction them if they encountered her before. However, both of them now very confident in their power after eating numbers of humans in his past month. They both are confident to defeat Seolhwa. On the other hand, Seolhwa is ready to see them being defeated by her. Meanwhile, inside the department store, our guy is busy evacuating the remaining humans. Using a combination of an emergency broadcast and persuasion, he convinces Shopper that there's been a gas leak, urging her to leave through the main exit. He ensures the safety of even the most vulnerable, like an elderly woman and her grandson. Before heading out, Seolhwa had instructed him to guide anyone resistant to her hypnotic influence to safety. As our guy helps clear the building, Weilan approaches him. She greets him with an air of casual disdain, suggesting they pretend they never met and avoid a fight. She admits that she came downstairs intending to eat him but now finds him her type. Instead, she proposes a truce, claiming that in 6 months, their world will belong to the demons, and there would be no point in fighting. Weilan insists that she has no interest in becoming a demon king like her siblings, and is content feeding on humans without starving. She proposes that they get along, adding that no one will notice if a few humans go missing. Our guy, angered but composed, listens as Weilan taunts him further by revealing that she already consumed 2 of the people he sent downstairs to safety. Her nonchalance infuriates him, and next moment, he ATFs VJs her with all of his might. Siu punches Weilan hard while looking at the end of the stairs, where she has murder-numbered of humans. That incident really shakes him to the core. In the last few days, his life as a demon had always made him believe demons were a threat to other demons, but he never analyzed the danger looming over humans. Weilan is quite interested in him, while saying that he looks delicious when she senses his power. Without wasting a second on conversation, he rushes to her while she observes his move, which is on her left. He attacks while she blocks his attack, but in the end, he flips her to the ground. She looks completely crumpled by this attack but still has a creepy smile on her face. However, her expression turns astonished when she sees his goblin club, something she's never witnessed before. She asks whether it is inheritance magic, and while confirming, he attacks her with it. But she blocks it effortlessly, her arms turning into demon form. Not only this, she also pulls his goblin club from his hand while recovering from her injury quickly. He is stunned to see her true demon form. Next moment, she attacks him with her demon arms, but to her shock, he blocks it in mid-air. Then she backs away. She admits that she doesn't want him to look at her like this, as it is her inherent magic. Her arms and feet turn into demons and smell like a rotten corpse. He disagrees with her by saying that it's not about how she looks. She introduces her demon kind as the brain eaters who have an immense need to eat human flesh in order to survive. It is their only way to produce demon energy. Then they are often looked down upon because they are born from eating the carcass of dead human beings from the war. But after the law is passed, their survival becomes difficult because eating humans is as necessary for them as humans drinking water. But, because of the law, most of their kind are dead from starving, while some creep into the human world to eat in silence. She adds how these kinds of demons are hunted by other demons, including her parents. Later, they are left alone without their parents in a sewer, without even a proper human form. Then she happily tells him that now she has adopted that cute body by eating humans. She casually adds further that it's not like humans are eaten for the first time as they've been doing it for thousands of years, and they would be eaten after 6 months as well. At the end, she asks him to pretend it never happened because she really likes him. But he retorts that he is not a demon, and wants this law to be established for as long as possible. Then he challenges her to come at him because he doesn't feel any sympathy for her. She rushes to him, and he realizes that she has great speed and power. Up until now, he has progressed so much as a demon in these few days because of his great bloodline and legacy, but it is the first time he is facing such a powerful demon. But there is a twist that the girl loses control and attacks the wrong side because she is not used to the power she is having. In this moment, the power gap between them is due to the human flesh Weilan has eaten in the past few months, which provided her with a great amount of nutrients and demon energy. Then he opens his scroll and wears his band while she suggests he just use his goblin club again. But he is ready to attack her without it, which makes her conclude that it is not easy for him to maintain such magic. Now, after multiple attacks, she is getting the upper hand, and Seo is quite weak, but she is shocked to see that he must have something up his sleeves, because he is gambling on his goblin wrestling while staking his life. That scene flashes to a few hours earlier, his conversation with Seolhwa, who was interested to know about his fight with the Black Tortoise. He answers nervously that it was really not a fight. She agrees with him, saying that he is one of the strongest because of his bloodline, his own talent, and the years of training he has gone through to master both. She adds that only 500 old demons in Korea are stronger than him. At that, he is curious whether she would be included in those 500 years, which makes her mad. She arrogantly replies that no matter the age, she is the strongest. Then, she is interested to know about his attack pattern against Goyu. He answers that he had used his band Solmi had given him. Then she asks whether he stayed still after it. He agrees with it, with an astonished expression. She says that regardless of the demon magic, he can use the power differently depending on his opponent's power, because his strength lies in wrestling. Back in the present, Seolhwa was standing in the department store with a smug expression as she expressed how she was worried about leaving Seo on his own. But in the end, it seemed like he was winning. Then she turns to her opponent, who is quite injured, and is disappointed with him as he pushed her to only use 3 tails when she was expected to use 4. She then also expresses her worry that she initially thought they were the strongest, but it seems like they are dying, which is why they came to Korea to feed. Then she asks about their boss and who has been hiding them for the past month. He declines to expose this person, but she threatens him, saying that he will, or they won't be living anymore. Her sentence infuriates him, and he takes his true demon form. He again refuses while rushing to her. Meanwhile, she observes his demon energy as upper mystic level and summons a great emperor immediately. She immediately crushes him into the wall, with the expression that no matter what, he is not going to win against her because power is not the only source of the class, but how they are going to use it. So that the bird on her shoulder says that it likes her outfit, and the next moment, she turns to Solmi, who complains that she is not fun. She replies to her friend that she can't fall for the same tricks after a century. Then she notices Solmi's condition, who looks like a mess. She informs her that she has lots of work to do, including attending to some guests, and beg her to help her. Seolhwa agrees to help her, as she will charm some humans for this, but she's interesting about her business to attend to some guests. Then she notices the floor shake and asks whether any demons are left. She answers that it's just Seo. Solmi protests, saying that she has already warned her not to take him with her because he is not ready, but she shakes off this concern, stating that it's his chance to get stronger, as he can't get stronger while fighting weaker demons. Seolhwa also adds that Solmi doesn't need to worry about Seo, as he is a goblin, not an ordinary demon with a purpose to become a demon king. So, he will need to fight constant battles to become stronger until the next 6 months. She has immense confidence in our hero, believing that no matter what, he will win. Meanwhile, said hero is fighting with a villainess. Waylon is quite confused why our boy is still standing while she is hitting him constantly. Meanwhile, he is thinking about goblin wrestling, which is a combat trait gifted to every goblin. It is a kind of power and ability that doesn't rely on magic, which is why they are not just good at wrestling, but simply can't lose when it comes to wrestling. He comes towards her while apologizing as he carries on after realizing something. Meanwhile, she is observing his motives until he wants to kill her. She rushes to him while intending to block his movement while striking. However, she is shocked to be stopped by him. The foundation of every martial art and defensive technique is to avert enemy power and minimize damage. But instead of doing this, he takes the damage to his root, as per the language of goblins. Like a tree deeply rooted in the ground, standing on 2 feet depends on the power of the goblin, and Seo has realized this. Then he attacks her with his full might, knocking her to the ground below. She asks him to kill her now because she wants to die looking pretty. He answers that he can't do it because she is needed for the investigation about the person who let them into this country. She chuckles at that, while saying that she wishes he kept her alive for another reason. The next moment, Seo senses someone behind him. He turns, and is attacked by that person. Meanwhile, Seolhwa is asking about these guests Solmi is going to attend. She answers that they sent some demon from China to take responsibility for the incident that happened there. But the problem is, he has sent someone quite famous, who is stubborn, making it hard to tend to her. Seolhwa asks whether she is some 1,000-year-old lady. She answers that she is the grandfather of the Money King, who is equal to the Great Sage level. That said demon is standing in front of our hero, who actually doesn't attack him, but the culprit behind him. He introduces himself and explains his purpose for being there, but she expresses that she doesn't seem the least bit interested in him. Upon hearing her accent, he immediately catches that she is not from Korea. With her hair, she is going to attack Waylon while warning him to take a side if he doesn't want to die alongside her. With that, Waylon's body is turning into ashes. But she is startled to see that he is still standing. It means he must be strong. If Seo was a demon from a few minutes earlier, and he was supposed to be dead meat. However, it is also a fact that his goblin tree is quite young, so he won't last long against such strong attacks. Meanwhile, this Chinese girl is determined to teach a lesson to our guy and attacks him again. But this time, he is protected by Seolhwa's demon emperor hand, who exclaims how she sensed something off and came here to check. Then she turns to the Chinese princess and accuses her of fighting with their demon when all she came here for was to lend a helping hand. She then threatens her to say something if she wants to live. Then she turns to Seo to ask about his well-being. He answers that he is not severely injured and asks about this ordeal. She answers that this woman is getting enraged over nothing. She explains that she was treated as a princess in her country, and she thought it was beneath her to take orders from Korean people. So she wanted to display her power to show who the real boss was. This Chinese princess finally opens her mouth, saying that she didn't want to come here in the first place, and now that she is here, she can't stand being with that demon who doesn't know their place. At that, Seolhwa provokes her by taunting that if they don't know their place, she should show them one. At that, both of the women are ready to attack each other while our meek guy tries to stop them weakly. The next moment Solmi interjects in their fight, reminding Seolhwa that this woman is their guest. She further asks our proud heroine whether she is going to take responsibility for the consequences, which makes her fumble. Then she turns furiously to her Chinese guest, while accusing her of coming here for help, while she is using demon magic against Seo. She also reminds her about the demon law, according to which they can't fight among each other without the presence of a judge. She even threatens Zhao Hui that she will pass judgment on her and officially report her if she doesn't back down. Sue is surprised to see meek Solmi this fierce, but Seolhwa says that she reached her position for a reason. She is the one who delivered messages on behalf of Mangtae, which wasn't liked by many demons, but she delivered it with her head held high. That's why she is fierce towards demons who are wrong. Then Xiao Hui decides to give up fighting with Seo, but on the condition that they won't interfere with her work, as she came here to punish the sinner. Besides, she is generous enough to give them a little respect, because she is in their country. Then she points out that she was talking to Seolhwa. Anyway, she leaves that place, and Solmi lets out a sigh of relief. Then she turns to Seo and thanks him for finding this place, saving the human, and hunting down the culprit demons. Seo shows his concern regarding having such places in Seoul, which can become hunting grounds for other demons. But she stops him by saying that not only these two but other demons like Goyu are also there, hunting the culprits in other places. She adds that they might not catch all of them, but there's a chance to catch most of them tonight. At that, Seolhwa shows her skepticism regarding demons coming to the human world to help, as they might not have much time. She answers that they are some humans who are also helping them, which is likely to be shamans. They are not working directly with humans, as they had divided that the areas south of the Han River are where demons will hunt down culprits, while the shamans work on the north side. Sue's expression changes after hearing this, as he might be thinking about Yusun. At this moment, a tired-looking Yusun is found sitting in Namsan Yung District, Seoul. A girl named Soyeon dryly remarks about his stubborn nature to work alone, which has made him tired. Even though he could have brought 15 assistants with him with his position alone, he answers that they are already short on shamans, because they need to cover a large ground. Yusun adds that he is okay with it as he doesn't like giving orders for every little thing to his assistants. Instead, he would gladly fight on his own. Soyeon reminds him that it is his duty as the head shaman to lead the shamans, but he quips that he didn't ask for such a position. It was his father who forced him into it. He is happy to be an assistant if no one interferes with his business. She comments that he is troublesome either as a head or as an assistant. Then she points out the demon behind him, which looks like a mystic-level demon, and asks whether he is the leader of that batch. He answers that it is indeed a mystic-level demon, but he doesn't think he is the leader because of its average size. To look at him, she is astounded to see Yusun, who is able to defeat 10 mystic-level demons that were giving the cleaning team a difficult time in Namsan. She is also amazed by his growth, which he has achieved in less than a month, and this is the reason he was appointed as head shaman by the elders of the agency. He is the prodigy shaman who achieved that level of deity. Meanwhile, Yusun asks their next course of action, as they need to report to someone. She answers that they need to report to the police general. Tiredly, he asks whether he can sleep now and report tomorrow. She answers they can't do that, as Seoul is in crisis. Even though, as shamans, they have fulfilled their duty by eliminating demons, it is a different case with civilians. Though they try to keep the demon activities hidden from humans, people are starting to suspect. By looking at the news, in which there is a report about a department store being attacked by North Korean terrorists, he remarks that it is better this way. She quips that they need to keep it this way by reporting to the police, as they can control the media according to their report. At that, he sighs and expresses that he might go home at dawn. But his idea is rejected by her as she reports that he needs to be at Incheon Airport tomorrow at 7 a.m. He asks about the news matter. She informs him that they need to receive 2 people from Japan who were requested to be sent by the Onmyoji family. She asks whether he has heard from the Kira clan, to which he answers negatively. She comments that it seems these 2 people are the future heads of their clan, so that they can balance the level. The next day, these 2 people are shown at the airport, where the boy looks excited at the prospect of visiting Korea. Soyeon mentions to Yusun that relying on the translator app at this stage seems pointless. In response, Yusun expresses frustration, while stating that he cannot afford to appear foolish in front of their guests. He also laments his father's decision to allow the unprecedented collaboration between the shaman and onmyojis. At that, Soyeon explains the historical context. She says that during the Japanese colonial era, 2 onmyojis were dispatched to Korea under the Japanese government general's supervision. They worked with local shamans to perform exorcisms in Seoul and Busan. Although they successfully dealt with demons, conflicts arose between the two groups. The differences in their methods and ideologies led to infighting, which caused greater damage than the actual demons they were fighting. She warns Yusun that similar tensions might arise now if they are not careful. Yusun listens but jokes that if things get heated, he'll simply run away. Just then, they spot their guests. Soyeon points them out, and Yusun tries to calm himself. As the two approach, Yusun notices a young man walking confidently toward him while a girl lingers behind, looking at her phone. The young man introduces himself as Yoshihiro, saying he is 17 years old by Korean age. He explains that he has been training as an onmyoji since middle school. Although he admits his sister is better than him, he gestures toward the girl and urges her to introduce herself, but she stays behind the pillar, uninterested. Yoshihiro reveals that her name is Yuzuru Kira and mentions that she is 2 years older than him. Yusun observes her demeanor and silently concludes that she is likely the troublemaker. Despite her aloofness, he politely greets them and shakes Yoshihiro's hand. Soyeon takes them to a hotel downtown, ensuring they are comfortable and offering to assist them with anything they need. Yoshihiro thanks her, expressing gratitude for their hospitality and acknowledging the short notice of their arrival. After settling in a car, Yusun asks Yoshihiro about their purpose for being here, whether they want to hunt down demons with them or just sightsee in the country. Yoshihiro explains that they are here to investigate a particular demon that may have crossed into Korea and to eliminate it if necessary. To see Yuzuru's shock look, he emphasizes that their father instructs them to handle this situation on their own and reminds them that they are not in Japan anymore. Yusun, filled with curiosity, asks about what kind of demons they are going to chase. Yoshihiro calmly explains that the demon has not yet reached the level of a spirit, offering further insight into how demons are classified in Japan. He elaborates on the 4 main categories, starting with bestial demons, which are animals that develop intelligence and absorb demonic energy over time. He then describes vengeful ghosts, human souls consumed by grudges and infused with dark energy. Moving on, he talks about tsukumogami, inanimate objects that come to life when inhabited by spirits. Lastly, he introduces nature-born spirits, demons formed directly from the raw energy of nature. Each type, Yoshihiro explains, has unique traits and origins, making the classification of demons both intricate and fascinating. Yoshihiro adds that there is an exceptional type called tatarigami, or dark demons. These demons don't fit into any of the 4 categories. Born from the abyss, they are created from the desires and fears of all living beings. There is only one dark demon of its kind per generation. If it dies, centuries or millennia may pass before another emerges. These demons possess unparalleled intelligence from birth and grow stronger as they consume more energy. Historical records describe them as catastrophic, requiring the combined efforts of shamans and demons to defeat them. So, they ask which kind of dark demon he is talking about. Yoshihiro admits that they are unsure if the dark demon is in Korea. A psychic in Japan had only foreseen its birth and mentioned that it might have crossed the sea. He emphasizes the importance of cooperation to identify and deal with the threat. When they arrive at the hotel, Yusun reassures Soyeon that they will cooperate fully and report everything to his father. He reflects on the recent battles against weaker demons, noting that while they were easy to defeat, their appearance seems like a deliberate strategy to lower their guard. They analyze that there is a chance a dark demon from another area besides Japan could come to Korea, despite the rarity of such demons. If the dark demon has been growing undetected in Korea, it may already be on the verge of becoming a spirit-level threat. At the same time, Chien is shown in the presence of the Chinese princess, while Yusun expresses his thought that maybe someone from outside Japan has come to hunt down that dark demon. Meanwhile, in the mountains near Seoul, Seolhwa is training Seo. She brings him to a secluded area, saying it doesn't matter if a few humans happen to see them since she can control few numbers of humans. While observing his expression, she reassures him that the deaths of 2 humans at the department store were not his fault. While she takes some responsibility, admitting her demon magic wasn't effective enough, she also points out that it was her first time covering such a large area indirectly. Our dude, still upset, doesn't respond. Seolhwa notices his mood and decides to teach him more techniques to help him handle such situations in the future. She begins by explaining various demon magic techniques, such as creating barriers, spatial folding, and sealing spells. These skills, she says, will make him more adaptable in dangerous situations. As she demonstrates a technique, our boy accidentally grabs her back, flustering both of them. Seolhwa smirks and teases him for being so easily caught off guard. She reminds him that as a goblin, he needs to be more confident and resilient. Their proximity during the lesson makes Seo shy, but Seolhwa remains focused and instructs him to stay still and concentrate. A faint floral scent mixed with the sweetness of peaches drifts into Seo's senses, making him feel lightheaded. His heart begins to race as though he has been running for miles. Instinctively, he shuts his eyes, trying to regain control, and when he opens them again, he finds himself standing in a place that looks vaguely familiar, yet unfamiliar at the same time. Seolhwa's voice cuts through his confusion, assuring him that he hasn't physically moved anywhere. She explains that the space he's in is a manifestation of his subconscious mind, built from fragments of his memories, everything he's seen, heard, or experienced. Seo begins to relax, realizing this isn't what he initially feared. He asks if it's some kind of illusion, to which she responds that it's far more advanced than that. She elaborates, telling him that her species possesses a unique form of magic called Violet Whisper. This ability allows her to stimulate the nervous system, planting illusions directly into a person's mind. She can make people see or hear things that aren't real, make them forget, or even control simple movements. Seolhwa admits that she rarely bothers with such intricate spells, but confesses that she's curious about how he'll handle the upcoming test. As she speaks, the atmosphere shifts. His own muscular figure with blazing red eyes materializes in front of Seo. He is immediately on edge. Our fox girl explains that this opponent is a recreation based on both her memories and his own. It's an exact replica of someone he has fought before, pieced together from both of their perspectives to create an accurate and formidable version. Seo braces himself for the fight, his body tensing with anticipation. Seolhwa informs him that this recreated version is as strong as the original was at the time of their fight. Back then, he had been on the verge of collapse, barely able to stand due to exhaustion. As the battle begins, he quickly realizes just how outmatched he is. His opponent moves faster and hits harder than any demon he has faced before. Seolhwa observes from a distance, calmly remarking that Seo's instincts and innate talent have carried him through fights in the past. But now, facing someone who matches or even exceeds him, his usual methods won't work. Our guy throws himself into the fight with everything he has, but nothing seems to land a decisive blow. His opponent, though devoid of obvious energy, uses sheer strength and skill to overpower him. Our guy is frustrated and starts to think back to his previous battles. He remembers how he used creativity and strategy to overcome seemingly impossible odds. One memory in particular stands out: that the Goblin's Club, a weapon that adapted to his needs. Drawing on this inspiration, our guy adjusts his approach, focusing on precision rather than brute force. With a sudden burst of determination, he uses ground step power to channel all his energy into a single, calculated attack. He strikes with everything he has, managing to bring his opponent to the ground. A wave of relief washes over him as he turns to Seolhwa, announcing his victory. He proudly explains that he was able to exploit a weakness in his opponent's movements, which allowed him to win. Seolhwa acknowledges his effort, but her cryptic response unsettles him. She mentions that his skill has been recognized, not just by her, but by someone else. Confused, Seo turns to look behind him and freezes. His opponent is back on his feet, this time wielding a goblin club of his own as well. Seolhwa explains that the weapon is a sign of respect, indicating that the opponent now sees him as a legitimate threat. Fear grips our guy as his opponent charges at him again, stronger and more relentless than before. The battle resumes, but this time he is completely outmatched. The fight ends with his defeat, and the world around him dissolves. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself back in reality, his breathing ragged. Seolhwa praises him for giving his all, even though the test was never meant to be winnable. Curious, Seo asks how many tails she would need to defeat him in a fight. She explains that the opponent's strength was determined by the number of tails she used to defeat him. Seolhwa considers for a moment before answering that it would take 3 tails, perhaps 4 if she were pressed for time. She adds that her strength increases exponentially with each additional tail, making her an even more formidable force. Against weaker enemies, she only needs a single tail. Before their conversation can continue, Seolhwa suddenly senses someone nearby. Moving quickly, she grabs hold of a figure hiding in the shadows. It's Hongryun, who immediately apologizes, insisting she didn't mean to intrude. Our guy recognizes Hongryun and calls her by name, surprising Seolhwa. When asked, he confirms that he knows her. Hongryun explains that the items she brought include special clothing made from a rare demon treasure, designed specifically for them. The story shifts to events that unfolded the day before. Seo is seated with Headmaster Moryang, who is trying to convince him that he is interested to invest in his cause. Moryang speaks with great conviction, assuring Seo that he will provide every possible support during the upcoming festival. He promises to assist with the best of his abilities, offering access to exceptional materials and rare items that have never been shared with others. Additionally, Moryang emphasizes that Seo will gain valuable information and enjoy various conveniences, privileges reserved only for those he chooses to support. However, Seo is not easily swayed by promises. For him, the most important matter is understanding what Moryang expects from him if he becomes the Demon King. Moryang, always candid, explains that Seo is not the only candidate receiving backing. Many other investors, not just the Yang Hoi House, are also sponsoring potential festival participants. The Demon King, Moryang explains, reigns for 666 years, ruling over the night. Whoever ascends to the throne wields immense power over their backers and their families. As such, it is only natural for demons without the strength to claim the throne themselves for the position of the Demon King's favored vassals. Moryang continues, while revealing the strategic nature of these investments. Sponsors like himself aim to narrow down the pool of candidates, planting seeds for their future influence. Seo, thoughtful as always, points out that such a system must inevitably breed resentment among those excluded. Some demons, he remarks, must harbor anger over why they are overlooked for sponsorship, or why others are chosen instead. Moryang agrees but assures Seo that such dissatisfaction rarely leads to significant issues. To illustrate, Moryang brings up the young master of the Heite clan, who had previously clashed with Seo. Initially, Moryang and his associates had considered sponsoring the young master, believing his bloodline and potential were worthy of investment. However, after witnessing Seo's strength and capability, they changed their minds, deciding that the young master was unworthy, and that Seo was the better candidate for collaboration. Moryang then delivers a key piece of advice that if Seo wants to increase his power or eliminate competition, he must prove himself. The festival, he explains, naturally separates the worthy from the unworthy. Demons who fail to rise to the occasion will inevitably fall away, while those who remain will edge closer to becoming the Demon King. Moryang assures Seo that if he emerges victorious, they can renegotiate the terms of their relationship. Until then, Seo should view this support as a gesture of goodwill, though the decision to maintain their partnership in the future ultimately rests with Seo. The scene transitions to Seo trying on a set of clothing brought by Hongryun. The outfit, crafted from demon treasures, surprises Seo by fitting perfectly over his existing clothes. Seolhwa explains that such garments possess unique properties, allowing them to adapt to the wearer. However, she notes, these clothes are not meant for everyday use. They are intended for special occasions or urgent situations. Hongryun instructs our boy on how to activate and remove the outfit by simply gathering his hands and saying the words on and off. Seo is astonished by the simplicity of the process and repeats it several times, seemingly entertained by the novelty. As Seo marvels at the outfit, Hongryun glances at Seolhwa. She thinks that she suspects Seolhwa is the famed nine-tailed fox, a genius known for rejecting sponsorship offers from numerous houses. Seolhwa, with her characteristic wit, had turned down all offers, declaring she refused to be indebted to what she referred to as small fries. Observing Seo's playful behavior, Seolhwa teases him, accusing him of acting like a child. She then shifts her attention to Hongryun, scolding her and accusing her of spying on them. Seo intervenes, asking Hongryun if Moryang had shared any other information. Just as Hongryun explains them about Yuseom, she reveals the information about last night as Yuseom participated in the hunt, accompanied by 2 other demons. However, the mission had ended disastrously, with the 2 demons killed and Yuseom barely escaping. Yuseom had returned late that night, gravely injured and in a state of panic. His fragmented testimony revealed little, but it was clear that fear of the enemy and guilt over his failure had deeply affected him. Seolhwa remarks that Yuseom's failure to die honorably in battle has brought shame upon his entire family. She comments coldly that she would have preferred death to the disgrace of cowardice. Seo, curious, asks if Yuseom's clan plans to take action against him. The man doubts it, explaining that while the clan is aware of the situation, no measures have been taken so far. Seolhwa notes that the events of the previous night have clearly left the clan shaken. At that moment, Solmis arrives, updating them that the uncompleted hunt will resume later, likely targeting the remaining foreign demons all at once. She quickly departs, prompting Seo to criticize her lack of experience. Seolhwa, offended on Solmi's behalf, challenges Seo to investigate the matter himself if he doubts her. She advises him to act independently, pointing out that knowing the enemy's location gives him a clear advantage. If Seo succeeds, she adds, any breach of protocol will likely be overlooked. Seolhwa then shifts her focus to offering advice. She urges Seo to work on enhancing his demon magic, warning that physical strength alone will not be enough to overcome all challenges. Meanwhile, Seo continues pressing Hongryun for details about Yuseom told her. The scene then shifts to a hotel where Yuzuru Kira and her brother, Yoshihiro, are staying. Yuzuru, eager to explore the city, prepares to leave. Yoshihiro, however, stops her, questioning her true intentions. He reminds her that they are guests in a foreign land and must respect its rules. Yuzuru, visibly irritated, denies any plans to cause trouble. She accuses Yoshihiro of being overly controlling and points out that she was not responsible for the Sumida incident. Slamming the door behind her, she vows to return before dinner, sarcastically suggesting that Yoshihiro can call her, though he doubts she'll answer. As Yuzuru steps outside, she reflects on her growing frustration. Determined to leave the place as soon as possible, she resolves not to exert herself unnecessarily. Instead, she plans to use her abilities to draw demons to her. She carries the Spirit of Fortune, the seventh lucky child, a psychic entity that stores her energy and enhances her luck. Yuzuru asks the spirit to grant her the best fortune for the day. The child complies, selecting a folded paper from its box, each representing a different type of fortune. The fortune reads that is the day she is going to meet the man she has been dreaming of, though the process might be complicated. Her lucky color is black. Frustrated by the cryptic message, Yuzuru continues on her way. Just as she begins to doubt the fortune's validity, a taxi pulls up and a man steps out. He is dressed in black and appears visibly irritated. It is Sue. Yuzuru freezes in shock, unable to believe the uncanny timing of their encounter. The morning in Seoul Park is peaceful, the sunlight filtering gently through the trees. Bi-hyung sits on a bench, his eyes scanning the people passing by. He doesn't move, his gaze steady, as if he's studying the crowd for some hidden detail. His stillness suggests deep contemplation, though no one seems to notice. Chain arrives quietly, standing beside him for a moment before commenting on his behavior. She says it looks like he is enjoying himself, something she finds unusual. She mentions that she thought he despised humans, and finds his apparent interest in them surprising. Bi-hyung responds without turning his head. He explains that watching something and enjoying it are not the same. He likens it to humans observing insects. Most find bugs repulsive, he says, yet they watch them with fascination from a safe distance. He admits that he finds amusement in watching people struggle, comparing it to observing the struggles of other creatures. Chain listens but says she can't relate to his perspective. Bi-hyung tells her it's because she is still young. She hasn't yet reached her second birthday, he reminds her, and there are many things she hasn't experienced. However, he adds, she is a quick learner and will understand what he means soon enough. Chain agrees that some things only become clear with time. She shifts the conversation, asking him if he believes Ray and his siblings are still alive. Bi-hyung responds calmly, stating that Ray and Virian